Yeah,
But
so let's talk like general thoughts if we can on this
going
movie.
into
So
it, like before we
yeah,
watch it,
yeah.
yeah,
So I
okay,
have like really low expectations. I saw the title for Drinker's movie or Drinker's video on it today, and it looked pretty negative. And I was just like,
yeah,
okay. And then you said something about it having like a sky castle or something. And so that's all I really know, other than the fact that like there's a sister and I think like David Forster or some shit, that guy from Stranger Things is in it.
right,
And he's like
yeah,
their dad or something. And like
yeah,
I said, I thought that Hawkeye was supposed to be the villain because he's like shooting arrows. But you said that the movie takes place like between
yeah. This is after. I
Civil
think it's
War
after
and
Captain
Infinity
America: Civil
War.
War.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So that kind of throws that theory out the window for me. But that's what I originally thought because I was like, who the fuck uses a bow and arrow?
right.
And I know that they have a past together. So like that, I thought this was supposed to be, because she's dead. So I'm like, oh, this movie's going to be set like anywhere on her timeline. So it would be interesting for them to do an origin story of her and also like show how she met Hawkeye and how they kind of became like friends and stuff. And I thought that would make sense if he was like a rogue agent, or not a rogue agent, but like an enemy agent, and then like they see eye to eye by the end of their conflict or something like that. So that was my but like overall, I have like pretty low expectations going, like, or no expectations really. And then based on Drinker's title, I imagine that it's going to be like a high quality bad movie.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see much of a connection between Hawkeye and Black Widow until like maybe Captain America: Civil War, and then at the end of Endgame or the middle of Endgame. But like I don't
Well,
see him being
they
like a
clearly have
major
a
part of her story.
well, they have a really like entwined past.
Do they? I
Yeah,
really
that
I
like
never got that from
like
any of the movies.
in the first Avengers movie, like when Hawkeye gets mind controlled, she's the one that fights him below deck and like gets him to kind of like snap out of Loki's mind control.
Yeah, but
And
she does. She like calms down Hulk too. I wouldn't say they have like a
no, I know,
crazy past.
but like there's a lot of things that happen in the scene that alludes to them having. And then also in Infinity War, when Hawkeye is like on a rampage in like Japan or whatever, she's the one that goes to like get him. And then that's
Right.
also the reason that they're the ones that fight each other to get the Soul Stone, because they're both like the the shitty assassin that has the shitty past or whatever, and that like really relates them, and that's why they have a lot of like scenes together. If you go back and watch the movies, they have a lot of scenes together, and they also like talk all the time about how about like past things that they use. Like there's like, I think in like Age of Ultron, there's like one part where they talk about like Bucharest.
Hmm.
And she's like, this is just like Bucharest, and he's like, well, then you must remember Bucharest way different than I do.
Right.
And so
Well, you
like
know what? I think that
they have a
okay, so
lot of
they're
shit
both
together.
Shield agents. And that's where I imagine that they like met and have a history from. But this movie is like about her being like an assassin or something, right? This is like they're like a group of assassins. They're like Black Widows. That's what they are.
I'm not
So it's
exactly sure. Like I said, I thought it was going to be more of like an origin story for her, which is why I thought it would
right.
make
It
sense,
is.
but it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like it's going to be.
I think it is, and that's it's like a common trope that I think I've seen in like 3 or 4 other movies, where like these like Russian agents that are like groomed to be like assassins from a very young age. I think that's where it's gonna be.
Yeah, it just depends on like how much are they going to, because like if it depends on like how much of the movie is going to be set post Civil War, because I could see them doing like some flashbacky stuff, that because like that's definitely like part of her past, right? She is like an excommunicated like Russian assassin
Right.
that like switch sides. Um, but like, and that's what I thought the whole movie was going to be, that, and I thought that would make sense to make Hawkeye the villain, because from my understanding from the other movies, her and Hawkeye were enemies at one point, and then they both joined the Avengers or Shield or whatever, and they like
I don't
somehow
know how.
they
I
got
don't.
him to like switch sides or something.
Maybe I just haven't watched the early Avengers movies in a while, but I don't remember thinking that. But I don't know. I mean, this movie also has okay. So the one that's like I think it's her sister or something.
Mhm.
She's a cool actor. She was in Midsummer.
Yeah,
I think she's like pretty cool. I think she's a good actress. So yeah, I mean, That might be cool. And then it
Usually
has
the acting isn't like the problem in these movies, though.
right. Yeah, I mean,
That's,
like, I'm
that's always on
curious
the
to know
back burner.
who the villain's gonna be, and if they do something like interesting, because like still Marvel has a problem with like not making
Yeah,
compelling villains.
most of the time, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that'll probably happen. He might use a bow and arrow. That's what I remember seeing from like I think I watched the trailer once and it was like a couple months ago, so I don't really remember much about it.
Right. And I
Uh,
just want to see like some really cool action. Hopefully they have that at least, which they probably will. And you know, maybe it'll be a movie that is made for people to look at their phones. Like I say all the time, with every Netflix movie, it's just made for people to look at their phones. Um, I
yeah.
think at the end, so I was thinking about like a rating system, like like a 5-star, 10-star kind of deal would be cool too. But I was thinking like we just have like two criteria, like an algorithm, and say like, would you pay to watch it or no? Is it worth your money and is it worth your time? It's like a really great movie is worth your money. Like if you went to the theaters and saw it, you wouldn't regret it, and it's worth your
Mm,
time because you felt like really good after watching it. And some movies aren't worth your money, like they're on like Netflix or they're on TV or at somebody else's house and you'll watch it. But it was, you know, pretty good, so it's worth your time. And then some movies are just like not worth your money or your time at all. So I don't know.
Are
That's
there
what
any movies that are worth your time but not your money, or worth your money but not your time? Like I don't know if it's a
Yeah, I
perfect
guess.
dichotomy.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but I mean, it's different. Nobody else is doing that, so
So like
maybe there's a
when
reason nobody's doing it because what you just said poked a hole in the entire thing. But look, the important thing is that
is that we
you
have a
know
system.
we have a system. That's the
Yeah.
important thing.
Um, yeah,
You ready to start it?
I
Or?
think we have
Oh,
to yeah, in a sec. I think that we have to rate this movie whether or not we would throw it off a cliff to get the soul stone or not. And like how sad we are. So
How
it's
sad we would be if we did that.
like,
Yeah.
is it really sad getting the soul stone scene, or is it like good they got the soul stone, we can move on? Fuck, I didn't like that
Right.
character anyways.
Right. Like I was hoping for a Soul Stone opportunity to come up just so I
Yeah,
could
so we can
throw
yeah,
this movie
exactly.
off a cliff. Okay, well,
All right.
you
Yeah,
you
I'm at
ready to
quad
start it?
zeros. Yeah, I'm
You're
ready
at
to go.
quad zeros. Can you
Yeah.
just share your screen? That would be
Okay, yeah.
just so we don't have syncing issues between us. And then I think we should do like a 5-second countdown so that you know, if
People
anybody's
can sync
watching
up.
it. You're right.
All right. You can see this then.
Uh, I'm looking for the thing that gives me that option. Wait a second. Oh, it's in. Wait. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Watch stream. There we go. Okay.
Okay, so for the one homeless guy that found a broken phone on the sidewalk and the screen is so crap that he
Yeah.
can only type in our YouTube channel,
Right.
here's the countdown. Enjoy your meth high. 5,
Yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the time. What Marvel movie is this now? Is this like 22? Was Spider-Man 21?
Oh man, I really don't keep track of that. I think it is like 22 or something, right? Because Endgame was 20. I don't know.
Yeah,
Nah,
that's
I
what I
don't
was
know.
thinking. And then Spider-Man Far From Home was 21 then? And that's been like the only Marvel movie that's come out since, right? This was supposed to
Yeah.
come out like last year, right?
Yeah, it
It
was
was
supposed
supposed
to
to
come
come out
out.
in like the winter,
Uh,
the fall, or the
right
winter.
in the no, it was like April 2020. It was supposed
Oh
to come out.
shit! So
Yeah.
it's like over a year past due.
Yeah. And they could have
Okay.
like released it on streaming like this before. I don't. It's
Yeah, it's weird that they delayed it so much and then they just did the thing.
yeah.
But then they're like, but movie theaters are open also now, so we should. I don't know.
Right. They just did it anyway. But like, I mean, movie theaters were open 6 months ago. Who knows?
This neighborhood is already too diverse. My immersion's broken.
Yeah, I can't get into it now.
Because she's supposed to be. If this is Scarlet Widow or
What year did
Black
it say? Did
Widow,
it say 1995?
I guess so. Yeah. I wasn't paying that much attention. It's
Yeah,
in
I wasn't
Ohio.
paying that. Yeah. No, I'll go back.
I wasn't going to. I was seeing if it would
Okay.
give me like a little preview. I kind of hate how all these movies with like female characters, they have to go back to like when they were children. It's like you don't need to establish that like Black Widow is like a strong girl. Like we have like 20 fucking movies where she's a complete badass.
No, it's not to establish that. It's so that the parent teaches them a lesson that they remember
That
at
they can
the end
echo
when
at
they're
the end of the
fighting the
movie.
main bad guy. It's just so cliche and it's not even like female characters that do that, because like Batman does that, and I would say Batman Begins does it well when he tells him in the cave, like, why do we fall, so we can learn to pick ourselves up again. I mean, I thought that was, not too heavy handed, but it's just really obvious nowadays the way they do it.
Yeah, I'm just getting like Wonder Woman 1984 vibes from this
Right.
opening.
I feel the same. There's no way that's gonna be as bad as Wonder Woman 84, though. That is probably
No, that is like a
the worst
special
movie
level
that
of
I saw
autism.
last year. Yeah. That's really sad because there were like 4 movies that came out last year, and that was one of them, and it was definitely the worst.
It was a certain kind of special.
Yeah.
It was also a like remarkable drop off from like how like okay the first one was.
Right, and like, the first one was like the only good one out of like the 4 that they released, right? Out of like
Yeah.
Justice League, and I would say Aquaman was pretty good, but like, yeah.
Well,
So
up
you would
until
think
it
they
had
would
been
have said,
released, it was like Man of Steel and BVS, right? I think those are the only two.
right. That was it. Yeah.
And then Wonder Woman came out, and it was kind of like
Hey,
this
it
is
might be
bad, but it's
okay.
better than the other ones, and it's
Right,
like
gave us some hope,
staggeringly
yeah.
better. So yeah, upon like reviewing, it's like it's got some flaws, but anyways.
Right. I mean, it's not perfect. They're watching this movie, and we're talking about Wonder Woman, so that tells you how captivating this is. Like, dude, this, like, I don't care about this. Like,
I know. Me neither.
cares
It's like,
about
can't you
this?
open it up on like a motorcycle or some shit?
Yeah,
Like
on
you
like a
do with
crazy
every.
like chase scene or something.
Yeah, like you all that Marvel movies always start that way. I'm like, it's like she had it.
Yeah, it was already in your hand.
It's not
It
like she had
wouldn't
to
have
run
taken up,
upstairs to
like,
get the
yeah.
thing.
It wouldn't have
Yeah,
taken
that's
up that much more space in the car.
Yeah, this guy's bringing his favorite fucking CD. Like, geez,
Yeah,
let her have her
his
book.
mixtape. Yeah.
Bye, only diverse neighborhood in 1960s America. Weird that she has blue hair.
Is that a girl? I thought it's a boy.
No, that's Scarlet. That's Black Widow, isn't it?
Okay, so that's supposed to be Black Widow, and that's Black Widow's sister.
I mean, what the fuck would we be doing here if this wasn't?
Well, I was confused about that because it looks like a little boy.
Oh no, that's Black Widow, and then the other one is her sister. That's gonna be like in the movie later, presumably.
That would make sense.
Yeah, and
Because
David
who would
Harbour
we
is
be
their
watching
dad.
at this
Yeah.
point?
It's like the star of the movie is that little Polynesian boy from the first scene that was on the tire swing.
Yeah, what is this? A Zack Snyder movie where you get too much exposition on characters that just like drive off a cliff in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, if it's a Zack Snyder movie, the mom's gonna give the dad roadhead while he's flying this plane, and he's
gonna crash it into a convoy.
Full of zombie pandas.
Yeah. Whoa.
Okay.
Okay, so he's like a super soldier kind of guy. Yeah.
I guess so. It's always weird when Marvel kind of like ad hoc introduces more super soldiers when they've been like really adamant about that there's none of them other than Captain America and like Winter Soldier.
Right. Especially after Civil War when they killed all of them.
Yeah.
But then like what was the show? Falcon and Winter Soldier showed that there were a ton. So
well, no, there was just serum
to be a super soldier.
There was like more serum, so they made
that guy
more.
was a
yeah, but that was because they had all the serum and they like made more super soldiers. Remember, because like there's the scene where the guy like steps on all the vials, Zemo.
Right.
They were like making them in present time. It wasn't like they were old ones.
Yeah, that's true. And Zemo killed all the super soldiers in present day too. So who knows how many were out there before.
By the way, we've got Black Widow as a girl, like flying a plane.
She's not flying the plane. Her mom's flying the plane.
Her mom's not flying it. She's like dying, right? Is that what's going on?
Oh, is that?
She got shot, and so now Black Widow is like, yeah, and it's like I don't know
telling her how to do it.
I mean, my point is like we didn't see her do anything before this that would give us any inclination that she's got aptitude for it. And if you've ever like when I was 16 and I tried to drive a car for the first time, it was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it was like very very
and
new.
It's like
very new. Even as many times as I've seen someone drive a car, like the first time I got behind the wheel, it was
yeah. So I guess like we're getting our action scene, but this is a little like it's a lot.
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere, but
yeah, and they're also like like I got really distracted by the fact that her dad's a super soldier.
Yeah, you know, at that point, I guess they're like a sleeper cell, and they got like activated or something like that. Is the reason they had to leave. That's the only explanation I can think of.
It looked like they got discovered, and that's why they had to like bail. Because like the police were coming
maybe that's what it was. Yeah, SHIELD was coming after them. Yeah.
I don't think that was SHIELD. I think that was just the
the truck on the side said SHIELD.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
So.
Well, if that was them getting discovered, then like, why were they there in the first place? Maybe it'll explain it later.
Do you think he's their actual dad, or do you think he's just like her assigned husband?
They're
'Cause
probably
he-
assigned. This is like a
Yeah, because
fake
he does
family.
not
Yeah.
seem to give a shit that she is
Yeah.
bleeding out over there.
Exactly. Yeah, and they're like
I find it
training these
weird that
kids
like
and
a
like
little
grooming them.
girl could get disarmed, or like a little girl could disarm a soldier.
Maybe they don't expect it from like a kid to do that, and then they would have trained this kid because they're like assassins and
Wouldn't
they're like grooming them to be assassins. So I don't know.
wouldn't the holster have like a buckle on it?
It usually has like a button, yeah, that like clasps in there. It has to be easy enough for you to take it out.
Yeah, but like if you're the person drawing it, not like if you're another person that like grabs for it.
Right.
I mean, I guess he disarmed her easily enough, but like, yeah, so it would make sense that maybe they were like orphaned girls and they were like given to this like sleeper couple at a young enough age that they actually do think that they're their children,
Yeah.
but they're not. Because like I have a feeling like they're not related in any way. That he's like a
Yeah,
father
I
in like
kind of
name
feel that
only and
too.
not like by
Right.
blood.
And they like set him up as a family so they could blend in.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite thing when they take a
The
song and make it
moody,
slow
yeah,
and
the moody
depressing.
old. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like trying to think of like what my comment was gonna be on that as well. I was like thinking of like I'm sad to see it in like a Marvel movie, but I think that that's like where we're at now with the next phase of movies is that they're just like
They're all gonna do that all the time.
they're just like kind of they know the fucking like formula, but it's like I don't. It's weird, and I was kind of thinking of this the other day, and it's like kind of a larger rant about like algorithms and shit, so I won't like get too into it. But it's like I think that they think shit like this is successful, and it's like if you look at every movie that's done it, though, it's arguably like bad. So
Yeah,
I don't
but
know
I mean, it
why.
gets people to like watch it, right? Like when they put in the
Does it? Are we
trailer.
watching it because of the fucking
No, I'm
soundtrack?
not. But like when they put it in the trailer, like when people watch the movie, they're like, "Well, the trailer was successful." Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's kind of the algorithmy thing. Like we pressed these 3 buttons in this sequence and it worked, so that's what.
I know, but then like if you look at the movies as like a product rather than like just the marketing material, it's like they always end up being bad. It's like X-Men New Mutants and like Justice League did it, and like these are all like arguably like terrible movies. So it's just like it just seems weird that they try and follow the pattern. I don't know if they're trying to like do it and at the same time be like, but look, we're different, or if they're trying to do it because they're trying to hit those same marks. And
It
this
has
is
to
what I
be the
was
second one. It has to be because they need to hit those boxes.
yeah, and this is going to be my thing about the algorithm since we're in kind of like a credit scene is like the algorithms like are wrong, right? They think that all this shit like makes a movie good or whatever, and so like they're like making it according to like what the algorithm tells them, but it's like every product that's been made so far is like fucking bad. So it's
Yeah,
like
I
the
mean,
algorithm really isn't like driving results, but they're still following it, which is really odd to me.
I think that the result is different from what you might think it is. Like, I don't think they make movies to be good. They make movies to make money. So, like,
I know, but
it,
that sets up a dichotomy that like if you make the movie good, you won't make money, and it's like that's not true though. You can make a movie that's good and that is also
right,
wildly successful.
right. Not that
And
it's one or the other. The fact that it's one is a priority and the other one is just like a byproduct.
Well,
Like
that's
the
what it
priority
seems
is
like.
to make money, and
It,
if it's good, then that's good too, I guess. But that doesn't matter.
yeah, it feels like they're like, oh, well, the movie doesn't have to be good because like we have these fucking things that the algorithm tells us that will make it good, and it's like, no, that the algorithm's telling you what will make money, I guess, based on like marketing campaigns. But then like you see the movie and it's fucking garbage, and it's like
Right.
you're gonna run out of people that are gonna go see these because like I feel like a lot of us are like invested, and that's why we're watching them. But it's like if they
Yeah.
keep sucking, it's like, it's like I mean, this is a good example. Like we're not even paying for this. We're just watching it off a rip site. So like,
Yeah.
you know.
He looks like he's been de-aged.
A little bit. I feel like they just do that with everyone now because he's
Yeah,
starting to look really good.
yeah. I mean, Tom Cruise he does that in all his movies.
Does he?
It's like in it. Yeah, he like.
I thought he
insists on
just
it. It's
gets
like
like baby blood injections
yeah. Well, he does that
or
too, but
transfusions.
that's for his religion. That's not. That has to do with something else. Honestly, instead of that nonsensical like credit scene, I would have liked to have seen like a scene that led to where we are right now.
Yeah, I agree. Because, well, what did happen to Black Widow at the end of Civil War?
Well, she like
Let them get off the runway, off the airport?
she like electrocuted Black Panther
Mhm.
so that
And
they
that
could
was
take
it,
off
right?
in the plane. Yeah, and I guess the cop showed up to the airport.
And so she's just been on the run since then. So I guess like we don't need that much connective tissue.
Yeah, I don't know. It would have been more exciting.
This is going to be your sister, right? Probably. This
It
one.
doesn't look like the one. Oh, that's her, the
Yeah,
other
the
one.
blonde girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that's prone.
Yeah. I'm just confused. Like when they were
I'm
like
confused why she has a Russian
undercover.
accent now.
Well, when they were undercover in America, right? Were they there to be like trained as assassins, or was it when they got found in the shipping container that they got made into assassins? Like I don't know.
I want to say that the girls were all put in a shipping container by the Russian guy at Cuba because they were getting shipped to some kind of facility.
Maybe so that yeah they were like
But then they got found by like some kind of Interpol or something, and I don't know.
yeah I just like I couldn't make heads or tails of that whole credit
Yeah,
thing,
I
and it
couldn't
seemed
either.
important. It seemed like pretty expository. So
I was gonna say that's starting to be something that's in a lot of movies now. Is the knife swap?
they go
Did
from
it.
one hand to the other.
Yeah, where they drop it into the hand that's not being like contained, so that they can like get the victory. It happened in Game of I first saw it in Game of Thrones, and then they did it in Last Jedi,
Uh-huh.
and then and now it's in this. So I've just been seeing it a lot lately.
Yeah, it's a super cool move that nobody expects. I bet they did that in like Born Identity probably too. Ouch!
Jeez.
What the hell?
Oh, she's going rogue.
Because of the perfume that she sprayed her with?
I feel like the girl told her something before she died. I wasn't really paying attention.
She said free the others and gave her like all the perfume. So I guess the perfume is what like deactivates them as assassins?
Maybe.
That seems kind of silly because, like, why don't you just break into the facility and spray the perfume into the vents?
I don't know. This is the guy that I thought was Barton, like because he has a
No,
mask
this
on
is
and
Daft
stuff.
Punk.
Oh, okay. This is what they're doing after the breakup.
Yeah, where are they now?
Yeah. But yeah, because he had a mask on, and I'm pretty sure he uses a bow and arrow. I thought that was gonna be. That's who I thought was gonna be Barton.
Hmm.
Because I was like, why would they conceal his identity for like the movie? Because like Black Widow obviously can't fight like a metahuman, right? Like she has to fight like a regular person.
Yeah.
She can't take down a Captain America, even though she's probably gonna end up taking down her dad at the end of the movie. Calling it.
You think so?
Yep.
Okay.
Her dad has super villainy vibes, and he's a
Yeah,
super
he
soldier.
he does have the villain vibes.
It's gonna be one of those like she has a lot of built-up resentment towards him, and like he's gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't understand because you were young, and I was doing it for you and your sister."
Hmm.
And there's gonna be a laser beam in the sky.
There's always a laser beam. We found Black Mark Ruffalo.
More like brown Ben Affleck.
Brown bag.
Does he not know who she is? She's like friends with Captain America.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that box the perfume?
Probably. It's probably the perfume. I'm really bored. I want to look at my phone. I'm so bored. Dude, ride a motorcycle or something.
Something's about to happen. Oh, the power went out. She's doing like chores.
What is it? What time is it in the movie? How far are we into
Nighttime?
this? Is it
Oh,
no?
um,
Is it
25 minutes,
is it
26
like
minutes.
yeah, almost half an hour?
Hmm. I guess you got your excitement, but I always feel like, why does it have to be something that would like kill someone?
Yeah, and then they just survive it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, how is the car still intact? Dude, they blew it up.
And she's like, fine.
Yeah. Like, good thing I was wearing my seatbelt.
She's got like cramps, but they're unrelated to the crash.
And that incendiary bomb gave me a major Charlie horse.
It's like the girl that fell off the stage and she was stepping on the grapes took more damage than Black Widow did in the car.
She did. She died after that. You never saw her get back up.
F's in the chat for the grape lady. Oh man, is it a robot?
I think it's a guy in there, but like he has like a computer head. I don't
It
know.
looks like it's a robot that was programmed after her.
Oh, maybe.
Because they're doing the same things. Although this thing
Yeah,
is
they have
using
the
like
same fighting style.
yeah, although it's using a shield and stuff. But it kind of sounds heavy, even when it's like walking.
Yeah. Why would it need a shield if it's a robot?
I don't know. Just so it could throw it earlier.
No, it looks like it's part of his outfit.
Well, doesn't she like not even know what's in that box?
Yeah, she doesn't know, but she knows he wants it. Ouch.
Okay, well, another thing that would maybe not kill you, but after an explosion and a fight, and then you fall
Yeah.
from that height into water,
Yeah.
like
And you hit the
Oh.
car on the way down. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Wait, was it empty? It was empty when you
yeah, it
opened
was
it?
empty. She got whatever was in it out of it.
It was probably the perfume. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, but it's like, okay, she's not all the way over there, man. Like I've seen people fall off a bridge before. You remember me, myself, and Irene? He was still able to dive into the water and get her.
Wait, if they need the perfume to not be assassins anymore, then how did
Well,
how
we
did
don't know
Black
that.
Widow
That's what you
stop
made
being
up.
It looks like she stopped and she pulled the tracker out of her leg.
Yeah, I know, but we'll like. It seemed like it was intentionally vague. I think we're gonna have to wait for that to give us to play out a little bit more and give us more details before we can confirm or deny that's what happened.
Okay, well, write that down. I'm gonna come back to
Yeah,
that
we'll put a
later.
pin in it.
Yeah. I'm I'm disappointed we didn't get a scene where she gets the safe deposit box that has a gun with all the money and the passports in it. We
Oh,
see in
like a
like
go
every
bag?
spy movie. Yeah. But it's always a safe deposit box at like a bank or something.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that like the Captain America movies always got criticized for was that they always just went around in like a baseball cap and a hoodie.
Sunglasses, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you need one of those to do the safe deposit box scene. So Mm. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Why are they being confrontational?
I think they both think the other one is an assassin still.
Oh, okay, that would make sense. Well, if the perfume did get you out of assassin mode, wouldn't it have been smart for the sister to keep one and just pop one as soon as Natasha showed up?
That makes sense because she has like a box full of.
She
Unless
had,
that was the no, she sent the box to.
yeah, but she could have
the-
kept one.
Yeah, I guess she could have kept one. Yeah, because she sent it here and then waited there, knowing that she would show up.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
exactly. That's what I'm. It's like it seems weird because like I feel like Natasha came here under the pretext that they were allies, or under the pretext that the sister trusted her enough to send all the shit to her. So it's like now they're just beating the shit out of each other because like I guess we needed another action scene like right away so that because we were getting really close to you picking up your phone. The movie could tell.
Yeah. Yeah, the algorithm.
All right, you called it.
I called it. I told you. Right. So how did Black Widow stop being an assassin years ago?
She probably got punched in the head really hard.
Wasn't even a fight. It was like just a really bad date.
Yeah. So I don't get why her sister has a Russian accent.
I don't know either. Maybe she grew up in Russia.
They grew up in Ohio. And they had no accents.
That's true. But maybe now that she's like been an assassin since they moved from Ohio, she's talking like
She, like,
them now.
gleaned
I
it?
don't know. Yeah, I guess.
I guess you can do that.
Yeah.
But like Natasha doesn't have one.
Right. I don't know what the age difference is between the characters.
Looks like a year, maybe 2.
It looked like more than that. Like
I would have said the little sister was like 5. No way.
Yeah, she looked like 12 or 13.
No,
yeah.
she looked like she was like 8 or 9.
No
or
way.
10
She
to
looked
me.
old, like
Dude,
12
like
or 13.
I just hung out with a 10-year-old the other day. Like I didn't hang out with them, but like they were present at dinner with us. And when he told me it was 10, I was like, "Oh, that's surprising." I thought he looked older. So like 10-year-olds can like look young or old. I don't know. Whatever bolsters my point more. But I was getting like the younger one was like 5 and then Natasha was like 8. That's what I was getting from that first one. She didn't seem like a teenager. to me, because like the kids that were she looked at the same age as the kids that were like pushing each other on the tire swing, and they looked like they were like younger than 10. Not that it matters. The movie's checking to see if we're on our phones again, so now we gotta pay attention. Now we gotta look up. Like if they're just standing out in the open with like guns and like tactical suits on.
Yeah, that's what bad guys do, and they never hit anything.
There's no stealth or anything. Okay, so this is like the same operation that the girl like got broken free from.
Yeah. I just never get when you see like people in tactical gear with like guns and shit like that. Like, what are regular people thinking when they like walk by, and then all those guys are just like going into an apartment building next door, and
That's
you're
what I
like
mean.
you're like checking the mail downstairs, and all these guys come in with fucking rifles and shit. Ouch.
Oh, well, she's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, even though the water was like really shallow.
Oh.
But it's like then she falls and hits like a bunch of surfaces that aren't
Oh
water,
my
and
God.
then she's fine.
I can't believe she's like not even hurt by that.
Yeah, no,
Like
just
she's like holding her side, like ow, like
yeah, perfectly lands. Like if it was like if she was getting judged, they would have all held up 10s.
yeah. She stuck the landing for sure.
And then this one has to. I don't know what she's doing. Oh. Oh. So they're like mind controlled, but aware that they're being mind controlled.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, they literally had the antidote for like all the people that broke into their apartment, which was like a very enclosed area where it would have been really easy to hit them with that shit, and then they didn't. And then like now after they killed one, they're like, oh fuck, we could have used the oh man.
Yeah, man, dang it.
It's like
but it seems like they don't have like a lot of the vials, right? So. Well, okay, motorcycle. Here we go.
Yeah. Phone's down.
Yeah.
It was Daft Punk.
Yeah.
They should have started the movie like this and then did a
Yeah, this
record
should have been the
scratch and been like, I bet
beginning,
you're wondering how I got here.
Yeah. It's like most of the stuff that happened just now, like before all the action started, like I don't remember, and I feel like it's not relevant.
Yeah, it was like some vague stuff about their childhood, and then like her
She's like living in a
running
mobile
from
home.
that shield guy. Yeah, and then she was in a mobile home, and then that guy like tried to steal the. But like they could have started the movie like this, and then just had them use the vials on like one of the agents to show us what it does, and then like we'd be at the exact same knowledge point that we were, except we would have cut out all the boringness.
Right.
Okay. That was cool.
Yeah.
It's really convenient and lucky, but you know.
Yeah.
Like what a non-precise strategy.
Are the assassins only women?
Apparently, yeah, that's the
Hmm.
only way you can get mind controlled is if you have a vagina.
Yeah.
See, this is where he shakes out the air. Yeah, see, it's like
Okay.
we've literally never seen anyone use a bow and arrow before in this fucking
Yeah, except
universe, though. That
except
isn't Hawkeye,
Hawkeye, yeah.
and they're like
I'm sure one
explosive
of
shit. So it
one
like
of the
goes under the
guys from
car and
Thor probably
explodes.
did
Yeah,
it.
maybe,
Okay.
but they're like fantasy adjacent, so like it makes
Yeah.
more sense. They
So
don't
it's like
have like
Legolas.
they don't have like
What the?
cars.
Oh my god, this is
I know,
so
and
over the
again, they're
top.
not gonna be dead or any.
Yeah,
There's like no
not they're gonna have
airbags
like some
deployed. Like
scratches on their face.
yeah, one of the doors isn't even on the car, so it's
Yeah.
like
They definitely weren't wearing seatbelts.
no. No, she's bleeding a little bit, I guess. Like super accurate with that thing. Like
Yeah, it must be like computer controlled or something. Yeah, does he have to walk up to it to grab it out of the wall though?
I don't
He
know.
couldn't
He
make
just
it
like
come
he's like
back to him?
incapable of running.
Yeah, but also like you don't have like a button that makes it return to your suit? That's
I don't think
silly.
it's yeah. Well, we didn't see that like in the last scene that he fought her with either, so I don't think it's. I don't think that that would be something that I would expect. But it's like you threw the thing. You were in a car, so you have like all your energy. They like were survived a car crash. You can't run after them. Did he
Yeah.
like take the escalator? Like he was like one of those people that like gets on the escalator and stands. Like doesn't walk because he's like, well, it defeats the purpose of the escalator if I walk
I
down
do
it.
that.
It's like
Yeah, why would you walk down the escalator? Just take the stairs.
that's what he did.
Wait, isn't Dreykov the guy that's running the assassin organization? So
Uh,
who was she working for when she killed that kid? She working for
so
Shield or was that somebody else?
that was her like defecting, right? She was like killing him so that she could escape. That's what it sounded like.
Oh, okay. But it sounded like she was working with somebody else.
Yeah, she was working with Hawkeye. That's who Barton is, and so it's like I told you, they have a past. So like it's unclear like whether they were like just helping each other out, like he was like assisting her like
Mhm.
escape, or if she had already been like recruited by Shield, and so she had to kill him to get like
Hmm.
kind of to tie off her own loose ends so that she could be for them. This
Oh,
is the,
hate each other. It's just been like a really long time since they've seen each other, and they And they
she's
also,
like
like,
making
led
she's like
different
making fun of
lives.
her, and she's like being like mean to her, and she just like dug her that last scene about killing her kid. And even when they met in the building, they were like fighting each other, and it's like I just wish they would just be friends and they could just work together, and they were playing off of each other's strengths rather than like constantly trying to get in like jokes for our behalf by being like
Those
diggy at
things
each
don't have
other.
to be exclusive. Did you see Shanghai Noon?
No, yeah, they don't have to be exclusive. You can do them in a more positive way, which is again why I don't understand. They always go this like standoffish route till like we hit some fucking like timestamp in the movie, and then they can like learn to be friends. And it's like, God, can you just start? Like, why do Black Widow and her sister have to like hate each other? That's a writing decision because we've never met this character before.
Maybe they're like, maybe she's like against the whole Avengers thing. Maybe I don't know.
Like, it would be. Hold on, we gotta. Okay, so that's what was happening in that first scene. Was like they were working for Dreykov. They were trying to kill the girl that like stole the serum, I guess. She was like an ex-widow, and then like when she was gonna kill her with the reverse stab, she like perfumed her and broke her consciousness, and then she defected. But yeah, what I was gonna say is like, but like it would have been like more interesting if like Black Widow didn't like know her sister was alive, and then like discovers that she is. Like her sister comes to her in like desperation. It's like, oh man, I broke from the fucking like mind control shit,
Yeah,
and
how
like
did you do it? Yeah,
now I need your help. And it's like,
right.
okay, now we're on common ground, and like we want to help each other, but it's like I don't know, they're so cold and standoffish.
Also, this thing, like the fact that they all come and try to kill the widow that like leaves the organization, like that begs the question: why has nobody tried to come and kill Natasha before? Like we've never seen that before.
Especially because apparently she tried to
Yeah.
assassinate him.
Right. It's kind of like a
Killed his
retcon.
daughter.
Doesn't
Um,
work very well.
yeah, I was also thinking like, why is she like? I mean, I know she's saying all that stuff about Black Widows for us as the audience, but like, you'd think
Right.
Natasha would know all that.
Yeah, she also knows that. Yeah.
Maybe that isn't her sister.
Yeah, maybe they're just random. But like, how long did they said like 3 years? They were like living like that, pretending to be a family.
Probably. So, do you think that the Russian one is the one with the blue hair, or was the young one that like? Because that's what I'm thinking that.
Yeah, I think the Russian one is the young one, and the one with the blue hair is Natasha.
Well, I'm kind of thinking now that they weren't. That wasn't both of them. I was thinking that maybe it's
Oh.
just one of them now. Because like she just said, my mom left me out in the trash, and then she just said something about like her family's from Ohio. So it sounds like they have like divergent.
Well, yeah. No, they were saying that they made up their backstories.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. I was trying to figure out like that was making more sense for me, like why they had one had a Russian accent, but I guess I guess that's still a mystery. It would have been funny if she.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, when would he have fought Captain America? When he was frozen in ice? Oh, yeah. Oh, shit.
Huh. So is he like the Russian Captain America? Is that
Seems that way.
they're gonna break him out?
Pretty cool. Wow.
I was
Why do you
thinking
have to
this.
do that? Why didn't he just walk out?
I I don't know, but I was thinking that earlier. I was like, he's a super soldier. Like, it's weird that he's like in prison and they're letting him like walk around. He doesn't have like extra security, especially when he's like
Yeah.
in the fucking mess hall, like demonstrating like his super strength,
Yeah.
like on display.
Everybody knows who he is anyway. They know
Uh,
he's a super soldier. The guards knew that.
I mean, they could have just been calling him the Red Guardian or whatever to like mock him. I suppose like maybe they didn't. I don't know. It's
No, he gets fan mail and everybody calls him that. That's how they know. So they read the
well,
mail.
then you'd think he'd have like more security then,
Right.
so he couldn't do some shit like
He
this
wouldn't
because
just be in the general
yeah, like
population.
because if he could just do this shit on a whim, it's like
Yeah.
it's like this can't be his like
Maybe it's
first.
because they're in like Siberia. It's like even if he escapes, where is he gonna go? That's why they need to like get him with the helicopter.
I guess so. It's a weird. So look at this shit. It's like, why is this guy in this prison?
Yeah. Why don't they put him in that underwater prison they got from the other movie?
Yeah, like with the Wakanda, like the sea prison.
Yeah. How did he recognize her if they haven't seen each other in like?
Because they were
30
talking to him
years.
on the intercom.
No, but how did he know it was Natasha?
Because like, who else would it be? They have like a past, right?
Well, wasn't it just when she was a kid?
Well, like we haven't seen everything, but I mean, like she tried to kill that guy, so they have like, they probably like work together,
Maybe.
and like they literally give him an earpiece and we're talking to him, and it's like, who else would it be? What other like female voice would be trying to like break you out of prison and like calling you by the Red Guardian name and stuff like that?
I don't know, like the woman that he was like pretend
That
married to in
died.
Ohio.
That died.
She
Probably.
didn't die. We saw her in the trailer.
They put her in a trailer.
Yeah,
She probably died.
she probably didn't die.
That's why the girls are so not bitter about everything that's happened in their life up to this point, right?
Yeah.
I know we've been talking over this scene the whole time, but like that doesn't change the fact that this whole scene has been pretty stupid. Like the fact that like they're in an unmarked helicopter, like above this like supposedly like maximum or at least high security prison, and like
Right,
they
you would
only
think somebody
started
would've-
shooting. Yeah, they
yeah.
only started shooting when she like goes to the door to shoot a rocket, and then they conveniently like miss her, even though it showed the bullets striking the helicopter like within range. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, so you like put yourself in a position where like had they shot a little bit like closer to the left or right, like you actually would have died maybe.
Right. Or they could take down the helicopter with just the bullets because it's just a helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
We
know, and
saw that
they're
inspector. He
so
had a
close.
pistol.
Yeah, and they're so close. So
Yeah, inspector. He shot the helicopter with a pistol like 3 times, and then the helicopter blew up.
this
I
is
know it
also
can
like
happen.
another one of those decisions where it's like you wrote it that it had to be this hard. Like you could have made this guy just like somewhere out on the streets of Russia, you know, some shit like that. Like he doesn't do like big time crime work anymore, but like maybe he just does like he just like knocks over like bookies and shit like that. And then they
Yeah.
could have like walked up on him and like just been like, you know, he's like walking down the road and they're like Red Guardian, and he's like, I know that voice.
Yeah.
And then they just
Yeah.
like go to a bar somewhere and they like recruit him. Instead, they're like breaking him out of this fucking prison. Like, look at this fucking shit. There's like an avalanche and stuff. It's like, is it just so it made sense that she's in a white suit? They like put her in a snow scene.
Yeah. She kept like all of her Black Widow clothes except the black one that she left in the bathroom.
Also,
beginning.
like, does it not make any sense? Like, if you know that you're gonna go to a place with snow and that has like the potential to like have avalanches cause, like, wouldn't you be sure to like not pack the rocket launcher?
Was it the rocket launcher that caused the avalanche?
Yeah, because she shot it at like the guard tower, and then like the explosion, the like sound from the explosion like caused the avalanche.
Oh.
So you'd think like, okay, we're going to this area and it's like by a mountain. Okay, so we shouldn't bring the rocket launcher, right? Because we might cause the avalanche, and like that would really be not that we would die from it, but would have put like a time limit on like how long we could extract him before we'd have to escape the ensuing. It's like, yeah, so don't bring the.
I mean,
so don't bring
personally,
it.
I wouldn't think that far ahead.
They're
If I
fucking
had a rocket
spies.
launcher, yeah, if I was a spy and I had a rocket launcher, I'm bringing it to every mission.
You're like going to get a prostate exam. In
Why didn't
prison,
they
is that like
confirm
they
with
have
him that he would know?
I I
Whether
was
he would
thinking
know or not. Yeah.
I was thinking like if that's all they needed him for, couldn't they have just sent him the earpiece in prison and asked him over the
Yeah,
earpiece
asked him where it is and then like and be like,
rather
and then
than
we'll break you out and they'll tell him and then like just not break him out. I
Also,
don't know.
did they just like destroy a maximum security prison and now presumably like all the prisoners are running free? Like, did you ever watch Metalocalypse and when they wanted to do that concert like in front of like the prison that held the guy that ate babies and then when they dropped the stage it like broke the wall and all the prisoners started escaping. They're like the Metalocalypse of female spy duos and they just like cause a ton of collateral damage like everywhere they go. There's a lot of automobile crashes in this movie.
Yeah. I just
Just
really
like
hate
casual
helicopter
crashes.
crashes. Yeah. Especially helicopter crashes in any movie I hate because like the characters usually survive them and it's like they're really dangerous.
Yeah, I was gonna say usually they end up in an explosion, so this one's rare that it didn't. But like I said, it's like there've just been like so many casual crashes so far in this movie, and every single one, the characters are just completely unscathed.
Yeah.
Like, also, it would have been funnier if the helicopter was like spinning her out in the background, and then they landed in the scene on parachutes, and they were like, "I told you so,"
Yeah. Yeah. That would have
and then
been
it like
funnier.
explodes in the background as it like crashes into the ground.
Does it look like she's wearing a wig in this scene? I think
I don't.
it looks like a wig and it looks like a bad wig.
Maybe I've been more distracted by like her suit.
The white suit.
Yeah, the white suit's really distracting to me.
Since they're going in the snow, they need a white suit.
I
What are you wearing in the snow?
guess. I guess it was because of that. It just it feels weird. It feels more like markety. Like they were like, oh
Yeah, they
man,
need
like we're
another
making
action figure. Yeah.
yeah, like we're making a movie about a character that's dead, and so we got to get people's like interest peaked. So like we'll give her a white suit. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, how do we make that make sense? Well, she's gonna have to go to Russia, and there's like snow in Russia, and it's like, okay, we're done. And it's like, and it's got like an open collar and shit, and like a place for her cleavage.
I mean, you can't really see that, and it's like zipped up all the way.
It's zipped pretty low.
It is. It
You
is.
can see her cleavage.
It's kind of. I mean, that's
And then
not.
like the zipper stops there. It's not like she like has it half zipped. She's got it full zipped, and it stops at her tits.
I think the zipper goes up higher.
No, it doesn't. Like there's no zips on the side of her on the
Well,
side of
her
her.
zipper goes up higher.
Yeah, but she doesn't have the same suit. Like their suits are different.
Yeah.
But like, look, there's no like metal zip part on like
Well,
the
maybe
collar.
there's like a button at the top, and she just has it unbuttoned.
Sure, that's that's different though. The zipper stops her cleavage. Okay, so the mom confirmed not dead.
Yeah.
I'm 0 for 2 so far on my counter predictions.
Yeah. You got nothing on me, dude. I watched the trailer.
Were those pigs CGI?
They weren't.
Totally were.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. They didn't show them on screen long enough to like super notice it, but
It's so weird when they do random shit like that. Like you couldn't get some pigs to like walk forward.
you rent them for an afternoon for like $500.
$1 billion. The pig farmers guild like got together and just set like really high rates.
Yeah.
Hmm. I was gonna say she did just have a giant gun and didn't like kill you or anything like that. Like,
Yeah. Was she
Can
gonna
you
bring
lower
you
your-
into the closet to kill you? That
yeah,
doesn't
can
make-
you
why?
lower your guard like a tiny bit?
Yeah.
Oof. Was that really scatting? Subtitles?
Yeah.
In prison, I learned to fuck with audience, eh? The bars, they provide no privacy. Are they behind like the Kennedy assassination?
It was the 80s, so
That was the 80s? No, that was the 60s.
right. But
Like what?
they when they were kids, it was in the 80s. So
Oh, was it? I thought it was in the
Yeah.
60s.
I don't think it was the 60s. How could that be the 60s? And then this is 2016. Black Widow would be like 50.
I guess. Yeah, you're right. My bad. Hmm.
So she was not chemically subjugated. Is that was the thing?
I guess not, or she was, or like, yeah, maybe she
That's
like,
the only explanation. Because how else would she have
yeah, like he
decided to go rogue?
developed. he developed like the chemical subjugation after she escaped to
After
make sure
she,
that there
yeah,
would be no flippers, like no one
that
that
makes sense. Yeah.
I still find it weird that they all have Russian accents and she doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a little distracting.
Because it seemed like she was working for, just Dreykov, the bad guy. They were
Yeah.
working for him. She was working for him till she was like, at least in her 20s, right? Natasha was? I don't know.
Well, it sounds like they stayed together as a family for like quite a bit. And I don't remember because we were kind of talking a lot in the beginning, so I don't remember paying attention to whether or not the mom and the dad were talking with Russian accents, but it sounded like they were pretending to be American.
Yeah,
So
they didn't have Russian accents when they were in America.
yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's not a huge part of the movie or anything, but it is like
No.
something I keep. I'm like, why is she the only one without a Russian accent?
There's the Red Room that's like his hideout. Is that what it is?
I guess so. It's like a compound. It sounds like.
Uh,
You know, I'm finding it
My
weird.
third prediction that would come back at the end, towards the end of the movie.
What
Something
would?
she said, something that the
Oh, the
mom said at the
pain.
beginning. Yeah,
Pain only makes us stronger or something.
yeah, yeah. What were you saying?
I was gonna say like so far I don't see the reason that this needed to be between Civil War and Infinity War. Like this seems like it could have just been an origin story before she joined the Avengers. Cause like now it makes it weird that like she's been with the Avengers the entire time and she didn't know that Dreykov was still alive and like you think that if Shield knew that like there was a Russian guy that is like using cognitive control or whatever on agents to make them like do shit around the globe, like that they'd be on top of that.
Right. I mean, yeah. Any kind of like retcon like this is like, yeah, makes everything not make sense that leads up to it.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, why did they choose to do that when they could have just made this like pre her joining the Avengers?
Yeah.
because like so far none of the details have been so important about her being, other than the fact that that guy from Shield is like trying to find her. But like, what does that even matter? That hasn't had any bearing on the fucking script. Like, she literally just flew a helicopter to a maximum security Russian prison to destroy the entire thing with an avalanche. And like, it's not like Shield is like, oh man, we're closing in on her now. We know where she is. Like, that's
Yeah.
had no consequences on like them trying to track her. At least is what we've seen. So
I also feel like this movie has told us a lot that the guy they're after is like a bad guy, but we haven't really seen that.
yeah, and it's also doing a lot of telling and not showing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
telling us all those things, but we haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's like I would have been more interested to see like her in the red room, like being indoctrinated as a kid and like going through the training and stuff. And like they've
Right.
kind of shown like flashbacks of that. And like I think they did that in like Age of Ultron. They kind of fleshed out Black Widow a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it would have been interesting to see like what happened to them after they went to Cuba and like they got, because I'm also confused about that scene that showed them all in the fucking shipping container and then they got caught by the fucking police force or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
I just want to see like the bad guy like do some stuff. So you're like, oh, that guy's that's a bad guy. You know,
well,
I
he
feel
did
like that's
make
not
that
too much
one
to
girl
ask.
shoot herself in the face.
I guess, but like that's not
Yeah,
that
no, I mean, I
compelling.
don't, yeah, I agree with you, but like, they have made him do something.
You see him for like 5 seconds, and he just uses an iPad. Oh my god, this is such a fucking bad guy.
It's like it's like the relationship with my parents. It's like I go downstairs and I see them using an iPad, and then someone shoots himself in the face, and then I go back, I go back upstairs. So I get this might be the thing I was saying. Is this like Shield finding them?
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, it probably is Shield.
That or it's Drakeov.
No, because Dragoff would have tried to kill him probably.
I don't know. I feel like we're gonna see Daft Punk amongst these
Yeah,
guys.
that makes sense. Also, their sleeves are like red. That means they're bad guys.
Yep, there he is.
Yeah. Where are we at in the time of the movie?
It's 90 minutes, about
Okay.
95, or sorry,
Okay.
85.
This is 2 hours 15. Okay.
Is that? Oh, wait. Oh,
Oh shit, she sold him out. You were close. You said the dad was gonna betray them.
yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, it looks like the mom is. I was gonna say it's clear that the mom is under the same control that she showed them that she's like developing.
Yeah,
Because like
either
that's,
that or she's just really loyal to him.
well, it seems like the people that are under control are still able to like enunciate their own thoughts. Like that one girl
Yeah.
that killed herself was like, I don't want to do this. And
Yeah.
then like the mom said sorry and it sounded sincere.
Yeah.
But then still went through with you know, getting them on this plane. So it seems like that is part of the thing, is like that they're like they are like, they're not like mind controlled, they're like acting against their own will.
Yeah.
Which I guess is like a different way of saying the same thing, but like it's a distinction the movie's making. This guy has so much tranquilizer in him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna have to wear a diaper.
They're like,
Isn't he?
oh, is this the Sky Fortress or whatever?
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. This is new. I haven't seen something like this before.
I guess so.
What do
Where
they
is
do?
it?
They're practicing their poses?
I don't know.
Doing the
They're doing something to show us that
dancing.
they're
This
like
is the new
pretty
Justin
elite.
Timberlake
It's
video.
like I've seen this in fucking Step Up, man. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
impress
come
me
on.
just because you're doing it in a Sky Fortress.
Just because you're
I've
holding
seen this
guns.
shit on Miami Beach before.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not impressed. I've seen this in High School Musical.
Yeah, I saw a flash mob at Grand Central
Yeah, at the
Station.
mall. Yeah.
Yeah. This is Harvey Weinstein.
they they would have the antidote now, though, right? Because they captured Black Widow and younger Black Widow. So like,
I mean, were they carrying it around with them, or did they hide it
well, like,
somewhere?
well, like even if they hid it somewhere, they're captured now, right? So it's like just as good as like not even being in the picture anymore.
Well,
Either
they
like,
don't know if they sent it to somebody else.
well, even
Could
if
have
they
sent it
did,
to Marcus Brody,
who's that?
the guy from Indiana Jones.
Uh, um,
Yeah, I was thinking about.
but I feel like it was only really useful in their hands.
Yeah, because they knew what it was.
Yeah, exactly, and like
Yeah,
have relations with.
but yeah, the bad guys don't know that. So, I mean, I don't think that's a really good point.
I feel like though if he just executed Black Widow and the sister and the dad now though that like that whole thing would be kind of put to rest.
I really don't think that he would be so like looking at it from the villain's perspective. He doesn't know what they did with it. He might not even know that they have it at all.
But he mentioned it to her like in the first scene they started talking.
He knew that they had it. I know
Yeah,
that he knows it exists.
he was like saying something about the well like I mean he knows that what's her face defected, right? So like and that she defected right after a mission where they were going to go recover it. Ooh. Uh
Right, so he knows it's out in the world, but he doesn't know who has it.
I know, but my point was is if he knows that only they have it, he could just kill them and it would be like
But he
almost
doesn't
like
know that.
I think he does.
How could he know that?
Because the sister is the one that fucking took it.
Yeah, but nobody saw that.
Yeah, that's the whole reason that they were there because the other one defected and like stole the antidote or some shit.
Yeah, but the sister took the antidote after that, and her mind control wore off. So like,
Yeah, so then it's like, oh, well, the one that we sent to like go get it from the target got affected by the target and then broke free of our mind control. It's like it's a very easy equation to put together.
that's too many assumptions.
It's really not.
Yeah, it is. No, I think it is.
Then I think you misunderstood what I said.
What if? I mean, like, what if the person that like stole the serum, right? Originally, the girl that died at the beginning. What
Yeah,
if she gave some of the serum to like a bunch of other people before she got found out and captured?
because they were like talking on like intercoms about like seeing her, and then they went after her, and
Right,
then
but I'm saying like even like days before that happened, she might have like sent like a box full of it somewhere halfway across the world. Like they don't know that. That's
I
my
guess that's
point. Is that
I
the
guess
villain
that's
doesn't
true.
know that.
I guess, but it's like how useful would it be in like that random person's hands? It seems like it's only like useful when
He
it's in
could
the
have sent
hands.
it to a scientist and said, "Hey, make more of this stuff, and then send it to my plaid shirt guy. Send it to Black Mark Ruffalo." Mm.
So this is kind of weird because like I was assuming that the mom was under the like cognitive control. And
Yeah.
now that kind of seems like a plot hole. Like, why wouldn't you have had her under the cognitive control?
Yeah, I mean, if she was, like, inventing it, like, she would know what it was, so she'd be like, "I don't want that in my brain."
Well, yeah, but she wouldn't have a choice, right? She sounds like she's been under this guy's subjugation for like most of her life. That was like
Yeah.
her whole little spiel about like being in the red room and being the mouse that runs on the wheel and stuff like that. So it's like once that you develop the thing for this guy, it would make sense for him to cover his own ass. He would then infect you with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially if like your daughter like just defected like a couple of days ago. It's like it would be really helpful to have you infected with that shit so you could cover your ass on that kind of shit happening.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a great villain, like
We've literally seen him tap an iPad and then tap his finger on a desk, so
Yeah, so he's gonna die of a heart attack before anybody kills him, dude.
a robot.
Who's that?
Uh, yeah, who is that?
Oh, it's his daughter, okay. I
Uh,
think it's silly that you have to open, like, a thing on your arm to press a button to take the helmet off, like, why can't we there should be a button on the side of the helmet that takes it off, that seems inconvenient.
this
This is not a great reveal.
yeah,
I
I was
don't
gonna say
yeah,
this is like falling really flat on me.
yeah,
Because first of all, I didn't know who it was, and then it's like, oh, it's my daughter that you tried to blow up, and it's like, cool. Like, is that your daughter
yeah,
was like a little girl? We didn't see
yeah,
her. It's not like she was like raised by wolves and like, you know, was like a Spartan and was like sparring at the age of like 3 and had to like live in
yeah,
the wild for like 10 months or some shit. It's like we saw her in a fucking school uniform before.
yeah, in, like, a bank or something, and he just blew it up, but, like, it's like, did he would've made his daughter into a super soldier anyway, right? Then, like, why does it matter that Natasha blew her up? I don't know,
No, I
whatever.
mean it's like what does it being his daughter like add to the fact that it's like
Yeah.
someone that's like highly trained or whatever? It's like
Honestly, it would've been a
oh,
cooler reveal if it was a complete robot.
yeah, it would have been
That would've been
because
way fucking cooler.
yeah. Oh, he's got the mind control shit in her.
Yeah.
Although he can
Or
somehow like
maybe
control her
the
without an
maybe
iPad.
it's the anti-perfume. He sprayed her with a different perfume. What? What?
Interesting, kind of.
How does that work? Can you explain that more, please? Is it like a what? Come on.
Sounds like back in the day when he was like bringing her up. That is like a failsafe that he somehow
Okay. Maybe it's the
introduced
early
into them.
version of the perfume.
I guess so. Something along those lines where like he established himself as like some kind of like paternal figure, and so I don't know. Oh boy.
He's gonna help him with like a crane or something. It's gonna be like a room with a bunch of buttons, and she presses them to like help him out. That's probably what it is. There's a room with the buttons.
In the sky.
In the sky, in the shadow, by the moon.
Above the sea.
This guy's really fucking lame, dude. He's like a
Like
Bond villain,
he's
but
kind
without
of
any of the cool shit that makes Bond villains cool.
he's kind of fine. I'm just wondering I'm just wondering like what is the mistake that they're gonna conveniently write for him to make so that he doesn't completely or so he completely loses the upper hand he clearly has. Because like he's in checkmate right now on them, right? He's got her completely disabled. The mom's stuck in a thing.
The mom's gonna
dad's-
do it. The mom's gonna do it. She's gonna
I mean, the sister's gonna do it, right? The
program
sister's
it.
the
You think
one.
so?
The sister's the
Okay,
one
maybe.
that's the only free moving piece, right? She's
That's
like
true.
somewhere. She's like somewhere in the walls.
Yeah. I just don't understand why he's not in more of the movie. If he's like the main villain.
See, okay, now, so they have the vials, and it's like, why didn't they just destroy the vials before?
Yeah.
Because it's like now the vials are still in play. It's like, why wouldn't you just destroy them? Or at the very least, like, why wouldn't they be in like Dracov's room, like
Yeah,
in
in
the
like a
heart of
safe
the
or
Sky
something. Yeah.
Fortress? Yeah,
And
instead of
there's
like,
a mini fridge under his
yeah.
desk. Yeah, this guy really does. He belongs more in a James Bond movie than a Marvel movie.
It's like he makes sense as like a villain that I guess like Black Widow can fight because he's like obviously he's got power without having like actual powers, but
Yeah.
like they're kind of making him a little godlike right now.
I press one button and the McDonald's ice cream machine works.
But What will you do, Dr. McFlurries? Is that why he was getting her to like punch her? Oh. Oh boy. Okay, so
From the
I was-
upper atmosphere.
I don't really have a lot of comment on like what happened, but like I hate when the guys have like guns drawn on the character, and then the character like discharges their own weapon. It's
Yeah,
like at that
and they don't
point,
start shooting immediately.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
don't you shoot them once they discharge their weapon?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they have like a code of conduct, right? They're like henchmen for a bad guy.
Yeah, it's like
It's
well
not
they
like they're like,
probably
oh, we
want,
can't
like,
shoot an unarmed
well,
person in the
they're
back.
not shooting her, right? So it's like they
Yeah.
probably have an order to like bring her in alive, but then it's like once they discharge their weapon, like that shit goes out the window.
Right.
Especially because you didn't disarm her or do anything to her. Oh man, is that how they stop this guy? Is they lock him in a
Yeah,
fucking
that
room?
was really lame. He's probably gonna get out of there. There's no way they're gonna let him go out like that or let her
Gonna
go out
fucking
like that.
Palpatine it and survive an explosion from a sky base.
Ah, I don't think the pheromonal lock thing is very cool.
It, yeah, I wouldn't say it's like uncool. I'm like really bored by this scene because like this whole like being on this red room because it's
Yeah.
like it's all just been like we know that whatever danger it looks like they're in, like it's going to be like they're going to get out of it in some contrived way, which it has been. Like none of it has been like really that great. Like all the reveals and like the flashbacks of them planning to do this has all just
Yeah.
felt like it hasn't really felt like innovative or cool. And like now she's beating like 12 fucking people and like it's like
Yeah.
I
I mean, really, I think the third act of this movie is a copy paste from a James Bond movie. Like everything about it, like they go into the villain's lair and he reveals his plan, and he has like a screen with like the whole world on it. Like it's so, and it's like, yeah, and it's just not done very well.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I just feel like that they haven't tried to innovate on the formula at all.
Yeah,
Like that's what I mean. Like it was all very boring. It's like, she's like defenseless, but she's like talking and like biding time, and it's like we know, like something is gonna happen, and like, and it's like I would have liked there to be like a little bit more like suspense and for them to like, because all this shit feels very like rudimentary. It doesn't really feel innovative.
Yeah.
Was kind of like my point. It just feels like the movie's getting to a point where it's like kind of like going through the motions.
Right, and it's like it's almost over now. We gotta make sure they get the bad guy now.
And yeah, it always feels bad when the movie gets resolved because it's like the bad guys are dumb, and it's like you spend all these scenes trying to make them seem like they're smart and they're ahead of the curve, and then they like lose because they don't keep good track over the fucking spot. Like that girl was in a house with a fucking secret room with like face masks that like hide people, and then you had them on a plane that was getting shipped out. You didn't check their faces. Like you put the antidote in a fucking refrigerator that like anyone could get into. Like you know, it's like it doesn't matter if you like make this guy sound smart because he's got his fingers in all these different pies in terms of like world affairs if he can get shut down because there's not a fucking combination on his mini fridge.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, god damn, it's like you might as well have tied his fucking shoelaces together and had him fall off the fucking bedroom. You know, it's like that either. It's like you try smashing your fucking head on a desk like hard enough to break your fucking olfactory whatever, and then like you're still gonna get into a fight with an old man. Like you're probably not even gonna be able to fucking see straight for a second.
Yeah.
You ever heard the saying nobody wins in a headbutt? It's like, yeah, especially when the other person's a desk.
Yeah.
And now I will say like that this movie's kind of like coming to a conclusion. This doesn't really feel like a Marvel movie.
Why though?
It's missing a lot of like the camp.
It seems like they were trying to do that, but none of the jokes were funny.
Yeah, I agree. I felt like a lot of their jokes like they could, like I said, the helicopter one, like I think it would have been funny if they had done something a little bit more like it crashing in the background instead of them just like crashing on screen. So a lot of their jokes have felt like we need a joke. It's like the algorithms, like people are looking at their phones, we need a joke.
We need a joke.
So they like, yeah, but they didn't really like try. And so this has just kind of felt like a, I don't know. It's like a spy movie, but like not really, and then it's like kind of lacking the spice that like makes a Marvel movie a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what I said before, like before the movie started. It's kind of like a high quality bad movie, and it's missing like
character. Like it's just really bland.
It is. Yeah, it has been really bland.
I feel like at that altitude it would be very hard to breathe.
Probably.
Especially now that the window's smashed open.
You know what? Like, so far the like best idea that this movie has had has been like we're gonna have this family that's like of spies, and we're gonna make them like bring down this organization, and it's like that's cool. Like they should have gone like more of like an Incredibles route where it's like they all have their own kind of unique strength that they bring to the family, and they all work like I said before in the beginning when the sisters were like fighting. It's like they've all had conflict with each other, and it would have been more entertaining to see them all working together from the get-go, and then their success can feel like it was like earned from the beginning rather than kind of just like, oh, we all kind of like bit our tongues and like work together despite the fact that we're like it's not fun that they're dysfunctional. the dysfunction isn't like really adding anything.
Yeah.
And again, like it has not made a lick of difference that this is happening post Civil War. So it's
this
like,
could have been any time.
why? Yeah, why not have just made this a prequel about Black Widow, where before she joined the Avengers, she was part of this Russian super spy family that did this shit, and like this is the movie where they have to defect against the organization that made them because it gets like swayed by Hydra, or it starts being like, you know, a force for evil rather than a force for good. Like everything feels very like loosely connected. Like I don't even know like what like brought them all together in the first place that has them here. Like what was like Black Widow was like trying to retire. She was like trying to like live in a trailer, and like now she's like blowing up sky bases with like her family. And it's like, how did we get here?
Okay, so that was the intake of like the engine. Like I feel like that would have sucked her in if she was that close to it. That's just a minor thing that I didn't like, but
Yeah, I don't know. There's like so much shit that's like just
yeah.
happening, and like uh
Uh, really managing to miss all of the debris is really fortunate.
say this also seems like maybe the worst place to pop the parachute.
Yeah,
There's all this shit that's
like
huge,
it's
by
all
the
on
way,
fire. Yeah,
falling around you. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and there's a robot that hates
This
you
guy, yeah.
flying through the air. Also, it's not actually a robot, but
It's.
you
I
know,
wish it was a
in my
robot.
head canon, it's a robot.
Yeah,
Because like the reveal on that thing was really dumb. Like we both concluded.
yeah. Like it could have been anybody in that suit. Like you remember that guy from the liquor store that you bought milk at before you went to your safe house? Yeah, this guy.
And you made him give you the penny and change out of the register. He had to break open like a new roll of pennies. And so now she has to like fight her like mirror self.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
It doesn't look like that thing would get through any of the armor that
Yeah,
it's wearing.
not even a
So
little bit. Yeah,
well, that's why the buttons on
yeah.
her
That's
arm.
why there's so many steps to take off that helmet. Yeah,
Where did that come from?
yeah. It survived the whole thing and made it the whole explosion.
Also, like, wouldn't the reason that she want to be like her dad's assassin, especially against Natasha, because like
Yeah,
Natasha's
because
the
it's
reason that
got
her
her
face is
dad.
all fucked
Yeah,
up. So like,
yeah.
wouldn't freeing her from the mind control like not abate her
Again, it
rage?
could have been any of the other widows in that suit.
Yeah, but the fact
That's
that
just
it's
being
this
mind
girl
controlled.
actually makes it so that the perfume shouldn't do anything.
Right, because she should already have
She
the
should,
motivation
yeah,
to
she should have an
do it.
innate
Yeah,
grudge against
yeah.
Natasha. Also, by the way, like they clearly managed to make zero use of the fact that there was a super soldier in this script.
Yeah, why was he a super
Like,
soldier at all?
what has
He
he
didn't
done?
even do anything.
He
Like, I
the,
forgot
he
that
was
he was in
arm
it.
wrestling people. It's
Yeah,
like that was like the peak of his super strength use in this movie.
even at the end, like when he was fighting those guys, and then they kind of just cut away, and that was it
Yeah.
until they got on the plane and ran away.
And then this is going to be the only tie-in to the fact that this is happening post Civil War.
Yeah,
Is like, oh, now we got to deal with this thing that we fucking shoehorned into the movie for some reason.
and maybe it's because like that's the only time she would have been on the run.
No, because it would have been before she was in the Avengers. Like they wouldn't have any. There would be no conditions that need to be met. You could do anything with that. It's like gray matter before the Avengers.
Hmm.
See, and like I like the mom. The mom is like really cool, and like we didn't get enough of her in the movie. And it's like it would have been really cool if you just made this movie about them being like a super family and like doing some shit together,
Yeah,
like an Incredible style kind of thing. And it's like instead we got like 30 minutes of. She's also very attractive for an older woman, so I like really like all the scenes that she's in.
yeah.
And it just feels like, man, she was really underutilized. And
I would. Yeah, I mean, she did some cool stuff in the movie, and she was like pivotal to the plan at the end.
she had a unique set of skills that like none of the other ones have. And like,
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
like access to the villain that nobody else had. So she was pretty integral to that part. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, she didn't really even appear until like the last hour, maybe 45
yeah, but
minutes.
it's like I don't like. Is this about to end? Like, oh my god, is there really 13 minutes of credits?
It was probably a
Is it really going to end just there? Okay, it better not. It's like holy shit, man. Uh, yeah, I mean, like we're gonna have to see what they do with these last like 5 minutes or whatever they have in the movie. But like, I still don't understand why they insisted that this be between Infinity War and Civil War.
yeah.
Like,
Also,
I
I'm thinking about it like Natasha was on the run with Cap, right? So she never got captured by Shield, but it looked
no,
like she was just about to turn herself in.
she like it's like we said, she like electrocuted Black Panther, and then we have to presume that after that, because Cap went off to fight Tony at the lab or whatever. So we
Right.
have to assume that like she just knew at that point that like she needs to split and run, and like she's used to being on the run and shit like that. So she has like resources in like you said, in like safe deposit boxes or whatever that she.
Right. I just meant at the end of this movie. The end of this movie, it looked like she was about to
Oh,
turn herself in to Shield.
um, is that where we pick up with her in?
Yeah, the next time we see her is in Infinity War.
And is she? No, she's like on. Yeah, she's like on the run with Captain America.
Right.
They like show up to fight those guys in the subway.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand how you couldn't just copy paste this movie like before the first Avengers movie
Yeah.
or
No, yeah,
whichever
I
movie she
totally
first
agree
shows
with
up.
that.
She first
Yeah.
shows up in Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it could have been like between Iron Man 2 and Captain America Winter Soldier.
it could have just been before Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing so far that is like hard locked it into a timeline that like
Well,
you needed
what
to.
started the story to begin with is the fact that she was like on the run from Shield and she had to go to like a safe house, and then her other safe house sent her the stuff that
Well,
made her
that guy
go to the
picked up that.
first safe house. So I guess,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, like, I don't
it's like
know. If she was already working for Shield, what would have been her motivation to?
no, like that's the thing is like you don't even have you could just have her be Black Widow like pre-Shield. Like it could have started with her like more a little bit more of like her and her family like doing work for the Russians and kind of establishing that they're like an elite squad and that they all bring like a specific and unique trait to each mission, and then giving them motivation in between that first mission that introduces to us to them, and then like something else, like either the guy starts working for Hydra or his morals start being aligned in like a more unethical way that they feel like, because it's like just because they're Russian doesn't make them evil, right? It's kind of like the fact that the dad was the Russian like Captain America. It's like he just believed a different kind of propaganda than Steve Rogers believed, right? But that doesn't make him like any more evil, because he like, so you can kind of like use that juxtaposition that like, oh man, like if they were in America, it would have been the same thing. They would have kind of just slotted into like the exact same kind of tropes. So then you see like the director or whatever, that Zekioff guy, whatever the fuck his name, Drekioff, like him kind of like falling in line with maybe like Hydra propaganda and like maybe making their like missions like a little bit more evil, and then they decide
Wait, who
to
are you talking about?
the main bad guy that
Oh,
controls all the widows, Dreykov
Dreykov.
or whatever. Yeah, you just have him like he starts taking like Hydra money, and then they like disagree with that on like a moral ground, and then they decide to self-sabotage and escape while destroying his operations from within, kind of like we had at the end of the movie. And it's like you just slot that before, that's like her origin before she even becomes part of the Avengers. And then you could have the fucking bad guy be Barton, and then have them like bring him into the fold at the end like I originally thought.
Yeah, or you could have just not made this movie at all, because I just don't fucking care.
Yeah, or that. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely like when this, like I said, when this movie got announced, I was like not excited at all, because I was just like, it's like not a character that I really have any interest in. Like Black Widow is like an auxiliary character, and she serves her roles like fine in the time that she's given in the other movies and stuff. And she's also not a superhero. So
Right.
I'm not really interested in like seeing, especially a 2+ hour movie with her, because it's like it's not going to
Yeah.
be like, it's not going to live up to like the expectations that we have for like the other Marvel movies and the other Marvel characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then it's like to see what they did, and like now to have seen the whole thing from front to back and been like, this really didn't have to be, it really didn't have to be between those two movies. It really could have been like its own thing and kind of existed in like, it could have been given like more degrees of freedom. Not that it was constrained either, which is the point. It's like they weren't constrained, but then they didn't take advantage of that. And like maybe they didn't take advantage of it because they thought they were like, it's so weird. It's like you think that they would be like, okay, we're gonna make a Black Widow movie. Like, when does it take place? And it's like, if you're like, oh, we're gonna write it between Civil War and Infinity War, it's like, okay, well, make use of that. Like, maybe make her like bring in Captain America.
Yeah, either bring in Captain America or like,
or
or
Hulk.
Zemo was behind the villain. It
Well, I
turns
don't think you
out,
could use Zemo anymore, like because he's already in like Winter Soldier and shit. And I feel like Zemo's kind
is
of
he
like
in
the
Winter Soldier?
he's no, sorry, he's in
He's in
Civil
Civil
War.
War. Yeah.
He's in Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier.
He's in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
This
so
they made this before Falcon and Winter Soldier though.
yeah, but then if we had gotten that and then like Zemo's a villain again in like a show, it's like it would have just been
Oh
like too much
yeah.
Zemo.
Well, he wasn't a
So
villain in the show.
well, kinda.
No, they
They
had
like
to work with him. He was
yeah,
like
but then they
more of
like
a good
capture
guy.
him at the end. I like he goes to like jail or something. I don't you know, whatever. Maybe too much use of him like in all this like non superhero related shit. But
Yeah, I would
it's
just
like
have liked to have seen it connect more. If it has to be at that
yeah,
point in the
exactly.
timeline, then
If it has to be between those two movies, it's like
yeah.
utilize that somehow. Like leverage her relationship with Captain America. Cuz like I feel like she's always like helping Cap. Like so it would have been cool to like have him brought in and then it
Right.
would have been funny to have like the Russian Captain America and the American Captain America
That would have
in
been
like
cool.
similar
Yeah.
scenes. Yeah, it's like you could have done like some cool
It's
shit.
just too complicated for Chinese people. That's the problem. Like, you don't understand. So, we really
Yeah,
that's
pretty
the
much.
real limitation on these that has to make sense to Chinese people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it won't make money.
Um I don't know. Like, eh, I just this this story, I guess, was like kind of fine. It's just like I just don't like any of the creative decisions that they made.
Yeah, I don't know. I really think that it would have been a better movie if the bad guy did more stuff throughout
I
the
agree because
movie.
like we had no connection to the widows to like care whether they were indoctrinated or not.
Yeah. I mean, they showed that they were
They
like
literally showed them like once in the beginning, and that was it.
yeah. The only person that was like really chasing them was like the robot guy, Daft Punk. Alright, here's the obligatory after credit scene, but it's probably not going to say anything about anything, right? How could it?
Yeah, I don't know, and it's like unless this is the scene that like explicitly like ties it to oh, is this like her going to her grave post Infinity War?
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, I guess is this the reason that it's between those two movies? I feel like you could still have this scene like in a prequel movie, right? If it's just a post credit scene that's like her
Yeah,
missing her
because we
sister,
would have seen Endgame before this movie, so
yeah,
yeah.
you could still have this.
Maybe it's so that she doesn't age that much. Because like if it happened before like Iron Man, that would have been
I guess can't
like
they age them
15
up
years
just like
ago.
they can age them down?
Yeah, they can, but I mean,
It's
why would you want to
easier to
do
age.
that?
It's
Why would you
easier
want
to
to do
age
that
people
to an
up.
actress who was in her 20s?
Just for continuity and the fact that
That
it's like a
that's dumb.
3 minute post
No,
trailer scene.
no. Set the whole movie in a certain part of the universe and limit it as a result. Okay, this is the one from Falcon and Winter Soldier. The lady that was like helping Booga Cap
So
towards
now,
the end.
yeah, so now she's gonna recruit her to be the new Black Widow in Phase 4.
Maybe not the new Black Widow, because it doesn't seem like she's working with Shield. It seems like she's like working for somebody else.
So is she the new Coulson?
No, I don't think she's involved with Shield. I think
No, I
she's
know.
like
Like, I don't mean like as a like she's gonna be Coulson of like whatever is the new Shield that
I don't think it's
recruits
gonna be
all
Shield. I think
the.
it's gonna be like a villain kind of. I think it's gonna be a villain organization.
Uh, I was gonna say didn't
Yeah, no,
Thanos
she
kind of
she definitely works for a villain organization.
That was a weird post-credit scene.
Why?
Because, first of all, like, we know Barton didn't kill Natasha, and, like, I don't think
but they don't know that.
Natasha's... Sure, I feel like okay, if Natasha had this, like, caper in between movies, where she, like, saves her sister from being indoctrinated by the Black Widow organization, and she brings down this giant fucking sky castle, and then gets caught by S.H.I.E.L.D. at the end, like, that would somehow permeate the knowledge of the Avengers, and then at the end of the events of Endgame, they would let her know, her next of kin know, hey, tragically Natasha died, but she sacrificed herself to get one of the fucking Infinity Stones so that we could save the world. Like, that's not something that's like, that she's gonna learn third hand from this bitch that is randomly at her tombstone at the same time that she is.
I don't know. I mean, like, what if her identity is still, like, fake and everything? And, like, how would the Avengers find her?
Because Natasha would like, if Natasha just brought down this giant organization with her sister, and then as we saw at the end with all the cars arriving, that means that she got, like, apprehended by S.H.I.E.L.D. or she had to deal with that director guy or whatever, which means that the Avengers would know, or at least Captain America would know, because, like, they would talk to each other about it probably between movies, like, hey, you know, by the way, I don't know what you were doing in this time, but, like, I brought down this fucking, you know, I got revenge on the guy that fucking indoctrinated me, and I freed all these other, like, people, and by the way, S.H.I.E.L.D., you'd really appreciate that, because this guy could supposedly, like, crash the oil markets, and he could, like, launch bombs, and he had, like, sleeper cells in the Avengers he was, like, alluding to. It's like, that's some shit that would just, like, it would get around, and then they'd be like, oh, you have a sister? Oh, we'll be sure that, like, you know, also, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. is, like, an organization that you don't really, like, keep secrets from. Like, they're the ones that, like, keep secrets from you. Like, oh, we actually know who the fuck you are. You're not actually, like, under the radar.
We've
like,
had a file on you since, like, 97.
yeah, exactly. So it's like the minute that Scarlett Johansson dies, they would have, like, contacted her and been like, and, like, how do you think she knew where her fucking grave was? And, like, that she's even dead in the first place and stuff like that. It's like, so I don't know. It's like I said before, these like post Infinity War products are, like, not as tightly written with as, like, some of the other ones in terms of, like, these little details that they, like, follow up on. Like, I don't buy it.
Yeah. Well, it seems like they're gonna set up, like, they're gonna set up
They're gonna
the
have
next
this,
movie.
or they're gonna have her in the next season of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Maybe.
And also tie in Hawkeye.
No, I think it's gonna be, like, a movie. Maybe it'll be another show, but yeah, because isn't there supposed to be a Hawkeye show?
Is there?
I think there's supposed to be a show. So I don't know.
I wanted to go back to the beginning, by the way, and see what year that the movie started in. I'm pretty sure you're right that it's 1980 or whatever, but I just wanted to check.
Okay.
I was gonna. I was hoping I could speed this up. I go forward. I think it's, like, right here. No. 1995. Okay, so it was a lot earlier than. So in 2016, she's 21. Oh, well, no, I get it, because she's, like, 8 right here. So she's, like, almost 30, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. I was just curious. I don't have, like, a lot to say about that. I just think that this movie would have been better suited with, like, because that's what I thought that the strong part about the movie was, like, them being a family and having, like, different characteristics, and the scene, there were few scenes where they were like all jiving together, but when they were, it was enjoyable. And so it just seems like it's like I said in the beginning when they were like fighting, it's like I don't know why these movies like want to write the characters to be like opposed to each other when it's more enjoyable to watch them like playing off of each other and having a good time. Like there are some instances where the characters being like so diametrically opposed to each other that them going tit for tat all the time is enjoyable. Like kind of as an example, you could do like Ryan Reynolds and like Samuel Jackson in like the Hitman Bodyguard or whatever. It's like it works because they're like so different and so diametrically opposed that their constant like cat and mouse shit is like entertaining. But it's like in movies where you're being like fed like details of like a mystery, it also doesn't help that the characters are never on the same ground. I don't like that because it's like I'm already confused about what's happening, and now the characters are like not working together as well. And it's like
yeah.
I want something in the movie to be going right so that I can attach myself to that and like not be so fucking lost. Because like if like you don't really know what's going on with the story, and then you're also like waiting for Natasha to like oh, she found her sister. Is her sister a good guy? Is her sister a bad guy? Does she have hidden motives? Like why did she contact her? Like why haven't they talked for a really long time? It's like that's not other questions that I want to be asking myself while I'm also trying to figure out like what the fucking main point of the movie is as well.
Yeah.
I don't feel like those are good like ingredients that go well together. So that was kind of like one thing that I wish that they had just like also they didn't effectively they also didn't effectively establish why the sisters were like adversarial towards each other. Like what happened between them. Like, if anything, you would think Natasha would have sympathy for her sister because up until recently, she was indoctrinated through the Black Widow mind control program, which Natasha should be aware of, right? Because she escaped that organization or killed that guy or thought she killed that guy or something along those lines. So she would know that, like, her sister is still, like, in the clutches of that organization or... You know, like, if your sister decided to, like, stay with the organization, more than likely it would be because she's so propagandized and so indoctrinated, and it's not because of, like, her own... Like, if she had free will, she'd probably choose to not be in the organization, right? So, like, then she would be a sympathetic character.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, like, make sense that they, like, start off adversarial towards each other. Anyways, I was like trying to fast forward it to this part, this fucking montage where it shows them like in the shipping container. Cause like, I still don't understand this part. I don't understand how we get from here to then they're getting found in this shipping container with these guys.
Yeah. By those, so I think aren't those guys the bad guys?
Yeah.
Like, so like, were they not part of the program before?
Yeah, like this is just like a very weird way to kind of frame this because like it looks like he's the reason that they were in the container, and then why are they getting them out in such a weird... I don't know. This is like really... This is just portrayed very strangely. So he like splits them up. It looks like he sends them to the shipping container, and then he splits them up, and then he indoctrinates them, and then that's it, right? So like, but like they're oh no, that's not them together again. That's them like filming the pictures or whatever. So like that's another thing too, is like they've been split up for a really long time. It's like why would they be adversarial towards each other? It just like doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I have no idea. I think it's just like so they could get the fight scene right when they start, and you're like, "Ooh, who's this other Black Widow that knows all of Black Widow's moves?"
Yeah, I guess, and it's just like that's not something that we need, especially if you're going to have them get into another fight scene against other Black Widows,
Yeah.
like right away. It's like, so just skip them fighting and just have them be like, oh my God, I'm so glad to see you. Oh my God, I had no idea you were still alive. I haven't seen you in X years. Oh my God, you have no idea. Like when I got the picture and the vials, I was like, holy shit.
Or, you know, if they really want to do that scene, they can make it so they don't recognize each other, right? Because like they've grown up so much since like they last saw each
Mhm.
other. Like, how do they even recognize each other?
Yeah.
So, because they were like little kids when they got separated. And then that would make it work that they would fight each other like that. And then maybe they say something that reminds them of them being a kid. And they're like, oh, it's you. And,
Or we
yeah.
could have, like, that's the other thing too, is like when we were introduced to them, in such a like innocent stage. And you know, like if we were gonna go with your age range, right, that like Natasha is like 13 or 12, like, don't you think that they would have started like drilling her by then? Like, I think that you start drilling children that you're gonna like brainwash and turn into spies. Like,
What do you
you
mean
have to start
drilling?
drilling them, like running them through combat simulations and training them like martial arts. You want to start doing that shit when they're like 5, 6 years old.
Well,
When
yeah,
their
that's
brain is
why
like,
Natasha like took the gun and shit, right?
well, I mean, that's literally all we saw her do. Other than that, we saw her riding a bike like pretty carefree, and like her sister like scraped her knee, and it's not like we showed her. It's not like she showed any kind of like medical aptitude. Like she like, you know, the family looked insanely green at that point. Like the children had not been introduced to any kind of espionage or any kind of training to get them prepared for a life like that. It looked like they were taken from Cuba, put in that shipping container, and then that was the beginning of their separation and then training. And so if we go by your estimation of her being 13, it's like, she's way too fucking old then. Like, not way too fucking old, but I mean, like, you've wasted a lot of time on this one, you know? So what I was gonna say is like it would have benefited us to have a scene where they were like young and being drilled and like sparring with each other, and then they learn, like we get a scene where they like best each other, or like one of them gets them into like a specific kind of like arm lock, and she makes like she taps in a specific way, or she makes like a specific kind of like, you know, like weakness noise, and then that way when they fight as adults they get into that same situation, and then they really realize like, oh fuck, this is my sister,
Right.
you know, like she gets her in like an arm lock or something like that, and it's like, oh man, Natasha's the only one that can get me like that, she's the only one, you know, something like that. And that way we get that like moment of recognition, because like other you know, these scenes are just like, they're just like scenes that are concocted for like the sole purpose of like being something on the screen that whoever these people are that are like writing them interpret that the audience is going to like.
Right. And again, it's just like people aren't paying attention to like where the story's at.
Yeah, it is almost like they have a map of like, okay, at this many minutes we need a fight scene, and then a couple minutes more later we need a chase scene, and then a couple minutes more later we can afford to have like a vehicular scene, and so they're like, oh yeah, we got a good idea for a helicopter scene, we could slot into that part, and then it's like, okay, they make the map and then they write the script to like fit on the map.
Yeah.
And then so the script gets all fucked up because none of the scenes give enough like breathing room and like development time for like any of the stuff in between to connect the action pieces to like make any sense.
Right.
It's almost like it's like they're creating this like fucked up skeleton, and then the script is the skin that they put on it. And it's like, well, then you just get this like deformity. And it's like, you know, and it's like, well, it's okay because like we're gonna put like really nice clothes on the deformity because like we're Marvel and we have like this big ass budget. So, you know, it's like it's gonna be a human that's like fucked up, but they're gonna have like Gucci sunglasses and like you know, like a Louis Vuitton tie and you know, all this fucking shit, like Tommy Bahama cufflinks, if those are even like nice. It's like, I don't know, man. All this shit sounds bad. So I don't know. it is kind of like that. That's what it feels like. It just feels like the scenes are determined beforehand, and then the script is written afterwards.
Yeah.
And so you get these problems that, like, because it's like, I mean, it definitely helps to like see the finished product and then make suggestions. But I feel like if you're somebody that like writes scripts and stories and stuff like that for a living, like you should be at a point where you can hear ideas on paper and be like, oh no, this would be a better way.
Sense.
Yeah, this would be a better way to write that, or whatever. Like if you turn to the script and it's like, we need fuel, and then you turn the page and it's like helicopter falls onto the ground and characters get out and are like, I told you so. You'd think you'd be able to be like, we could write that funnier if like that's what we're really going for.
Right.
But yeah, and again, it really didn't feel very Marvel-y.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like pretty obvious they're going for a James Bond kind of thing. They even referenced it. They referenced it in the movie. They had like a scene from Moonraker that they were watching on TV. Did you catch that?
I did. Yeah, I did catch that, and I was thinking that as well. It's like, oh, well, they're doing the spy movie, so they're gonna have like a little bit of an homage in there. If you
and the third act of the movie played like exactly like a James Bond movie, but it just didn't have the kind of weight, because like in a James Bond movie, you see the villain throughout the movie and they become like a pretty ominous character.
Yeah.
They make a lot of things happen to the main character and like create challenges for the main character.
Yeah, and this was just not happening with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Black Widow wasn't challenged, because I think she was, but I don't see it coming from. Yeah, I mean,
like, let's examine that.
Yeah, I guess but like beyond that, what my point is that even if she was challenged, those challenges didn't seem to come from the villain. So it seems like, you know what I mean? Like he didn't have like a real effect on the main character throughout the first couple of acts.
Well, he did send the robot daughter at her in the beginning, like when she left her house.
Yeah, I guess, but
and then the scene after that, they sent the team. Well, I mean, it is like bad entity thing that like wants the MacGuffin. It's like it's pretty easy to draw the line that like that's probably coming from the villain. And then the scene after that, they sent like the Black Widow team after her sister and her in Budapest. But like after that, it's like all the shit from him kind of like dried up. Like, so there were like, you could kind of make the case that there were like two parts of like the first act that he was like present, but then like he didn't do anything the entire like second act of the movie.
Yeah.
And like that is kind of where you need like the stakes to kind of get built up and set up. Right. And it really did feel like they did the building up of the stakes and then the resolving of them all in the third act. And I think that that's why it did not feel really, I think that's why I was bored, because I was like, we're at the end of the movie, so this is all going to get resolved. So everything that you're trying to set up, like all this shit, all these like booby traps supposedly that like Black Widow has fallen into, I'm like not interested by them, because I'm expecting them to get resolved like really quickly.
Yeah, in like 5 minutes, it's not even going to be an issue.
Yeah, exactly, because of like where we are in the pace of the movie.
And you know what? Even if it would have been cooler if she had like encountered the villain earlier in the movie, which it doesn't really jive with the whole, what is it called, Red Room? Yeah, with the whole Red Room situation. Like that wouldn't have made sense if the villain appeared earlier and she tried to fight him and then she found out she couldn't.
Yeah. You know what would have been a cooler story if we want to like I'm kind of thinking now, if you want to kind of scrap like a little bit of like the family dynamic, is like have Black Widow be the one that breaks free from Drekhov's control or influence or whatever, whether that be like I mean, like let's assume it's like the mind control thing, and then her goal after that is to break her sister and her mom and her dad out of his control as well. And then
That would have been cool, yeah.
And then at the end, when she's freed all three of them, then the four of them conspire together to bring him down as an organization.
And then the mom makes the perfume that makes them not be mind controlled anymore.
Whatever. I mean, like, that can either be in it or not in it or whatever. Like, that's not really like the important part. It's like it's just like I'm just trying to think of like how do you get the family into the movie a little bit more in a more like meaningful way, because like they ended up being like interesting characters and I liked seeing them all together and like working together, but it just took us so long to get to that point. And also I felt like Black Widow's goals in this movie were just not very clear. Like I didn't like
Right.
other than like unfinished revenge.
Yeah, finding
like-
him, but like why?
Yeah,
well, I guess to free the other widows, but like
I
if that's
guess so,
the
but,
case,
like,
then we need more connection with them.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
need to know why they need to be freed.
We didn't really get any kind of like connective tissue.
We
to
didn't
them.
even see any of them in action. Like what do they do that's so bad?
Yeah, I guess just that they don't have free will and that they're
The
like,
only time we saw them in
children.
action is them hunting another Black Widow. So like what is like what are they doing? Are they going around, are they assassinating like dignitaries? Or are they? Because that would have been a cool scene. Like he gives the briefcase and it blows up in the limo or whatever. Like that would have been fine if they did that. And you're like, okay, these guys are assassins. Or like she comes in through the air duct and like poisons the guy's coffee, and then the cure for cancer gets sold to a pharmaceutical company or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't really have any empathy for them. Like even when they chased them in that first scene in Budapest, I was kind of just like, they just kind of felt like generic henchmen to me.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of just like, well, fuck them, right? Who cares? Like the two people that we do give a shit about in the movie aren't them. So I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get what's the big deal. It's like you like it's kind of like Finn in Star Wars. Like you don't give a shit about the other stormtroopers because they're still mindless stormtroopers. You only give a shit about the one that has figured it the fuck out, right? It's like I don't have time to worry about a million other fucking potentials. You know, I only have time to worry about the one guy that you're showing me on screen that's actually done the fucking thing. So that's how I felt about the widows in this movie. Is like I don't really care about them or emphasize with them at all. They just feel like bad guys that could like fall off buildings or get blown up on motorcycles or whatever. And they're just kind of like obstacles to be surmounted by our main characters. So if you want us to,
I don't think we saw enough of them.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like, yeah, we needed more if you want us to feel like compelled like Natasha does to like break them free. But even then, I don't think that was her goal. I think her goal was just to kill, to just resolve her unfinished business with Dreykov, and it seemed like her sister kind of roped her more into like, we have to free the other.
Yeah, I can't remember what made her decide to do that, right? Because she was just like in hiding from S.H.I.E.L.D. at the beginning. Like, so what made her be like, you know what, let me just go and kill this guy? Again, he's been around. I didn't kill him. I knew he was around still, but
also
like,
she didn't
I didn't even try to kill him before. Now I am, but like, why?
Well, I was going to say, like, she didn't see the picture of her, like the photo booth picture of her sister in the vials till after she got knocked off the bridge. Because she didn't know that the vials were in the box, right?
Yeah.
So she didn't like, it's not like she like opened her trunk, saw the vials, saw the picture and was like, oh fuck, I got to go contact Sandy or whatever her sister's name was. And then
Blonde Widow. There's Black Widow and Blonde Widow.
Yeah, and so it's not like she's like, I gotta contact Blonde Widow, and then like on her way to like finding how she was gonna get to her sister, she got apprehended by the robot. Instead, the robot started fighting her, and then was like, I don't need to kill this girl, I just need this box. And then she was like, oh, I have to stop every person that wants a box. So let me do that. And then she risked her life for this thing that she doesn't even know what the fuck is, got knocked off the bridge. And then when she got out of the water, she looked at it and was like, oh, this is a bunch of vials and it's got my sister's picture in it. And then she was like, oh shit. And then she was in Bucharest after that. Or Budapest. So she really had like she was kind of just being like moved along by the plot and not really like making decisions on her own that made sense. And then even when she found her sister, she was like, how are you here? Like, what do you, blah, blah. You know, so it's like, what even, is happening, and then the movie just kind of like started after that. It like kept going with like they're like on the run, and then they like we don't like each other, and then they had to get dad, and then they had to get mom, and then they were on that sky castle. So
Yeah, it was pretty thin motivation for
yeah,
why any of it happened.
yeah, it really was. It really needed a stronger like through line for Black Widow to want to
Yeah.
be doing any of that. So
It would have been interesting maybe if she I don't know. How do we write that to make it interesting? Like maybe she sees her old friend and then her old friend gets killed and also she finds out like that Dragoff is still alive at the same time, like in the same scene. Like she reveals to him that she was working for Dragoff the whole time and then she does the mind control thing. And now she's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that guy's still alive." And he's like controlling people like this. Okay, now I have to fix that because I messed up the first time. I didn't get him. I mean, that's like kind of a more
yeah,
interesting or more
I'm
compelling way to do that.
I'm
That's
thinking
just the
like
brainstorm.
her sister, because like the way that it's written is kind of weird, right? It's like, okay, the sister is gonna get the vials, the perfume, which is the MacGuffin,
Uh-huh.
and then is gonna inexplicably, almost coincidentally, get that to Black Widow, so that Black Widow can get attacked by the robot, and then she can realize what she has is that she even has it, first of all, and then realize the thing that she happens to have is important, and then
Yeah.
that leads her into a series of events that like reconnects her with her sister, and then the plot kind of gets rolling from there. Instead, why don't you make the sister who has the perfume to begin with like go to Black Widow because she knows that she's like one of the only people that she can trust, or something along those lines, like, oh, you like, now I'm free from this mind control, and I am now remembering that the only other person that ever got free of Dracov's control is happens to be my fucking sister. So
Yeah.
why don't I go find her? And then it would have made sense for it to be between Civil War and Infinity War, because she would be like, oh well, yeah, I'm kind of on the outs right now with my normal team, so I have time for a fucking side caper,
Yeah.
because like the home team right now is kind of disheveled, right? We just had a big breakup with the Civil War, so it would have made sense if you had to shoehorn it between those two movies. You could have utilized the fact that like she's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything right now. My normal team is like on the outs,
Yeah.
and then you kind of like go from there. But it's like really weird that it's like, and then like, how is it that you know that Blonde Widow has the vials, but then she gets rid of them, and you know precisely where she sent the vials, that you can send the robot there to get them, but you don't know where Blonde Widow is?
Yeah, how did the robot find out?
It
How
just
did Daft
showed up.
Punk find out where yeah, but how do they know that? Because like it wasn't delivered through the mail. It was like
It was brought there by
it
like
was
the
brought there by
undercover
Ross
guy.
from Friends. Yeah.
Fucking Dinesh.
Yeah.
Dinesh Ruffalo.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like I want to say that the best movies don't crumble when you start unraveling them. And you start
No,
like
yeah.
thinking about what happens. But like I can't think of the last time I watched a
Well,
movie that really held up.
yeah, well, it's like they kind of like do things, and they like intersperse them in like action scenes, so it's like hard for you to like keep track of like the details you should actually be paying attention to. Like, it's like, oh, she got this box, and like we recognize the box. Like, it's like what I said when she put it in the trunk. I'm like, that's the box. But then like literally 2 seconds later, her car blows up, and then she's in a fight scene, and so it makes you hard to realize like, why the fuck does she have the box, and like, what does it mean for the box to have gotten into her possession, and who had the box last, and so what does it mean for them to not have it anymore? And you can't like piece all that together when like an action scene happens, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into another scene, and then that turns into an action scene right away, which is where they both met, and then there's so little time for them to talk, because then there's another action scene where they start like running from the other Black Widows and stuff like that, but by that time you're just like, well, fuck, I'm just along for the ride now.
Yeah. I mean, like, I hesitate to even call the serum, the perfume, a MacGuffin because it really only drove the action for the first act. It was kind of not
But
important later
it's the
on.
plot point, like it's the thing that both the good guys and the bad guys want.
Yeah, but I mean, just
I
in
don't.
the first act, the bad guy, it seemed like they didn't even care about it after like after the second act.
Well, the bad guys. It's like we said, the bad guys completely. Their involvement completely disappeared from the movie in the second act.
Yeah.
Because the second act of the movie should have been the
Er,
first act of the movie.
Yeah, because the second act of the movie is when they're
Like the family
getting
together
yeah, and getting the guy out of jail, and then they go up to the
to the
mom's
mom's pig
house.
farm. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like that's where the whole like bad guy plot took a back seat so that they could develop the characters or at least get them involved. I don't know if you'd call it development.
yeah,
Um, so, but yeah, I mean, it's like it's the thing that like started the sisters like defection, and then it's the thing that got Black Widow involved into the plot because the robot wanted to get it for the bad guy, and then it it again like brought us into contact with the bad guy when he tried to retrieve it the second time from Budapest
right.
when they sent the widows there, and then that's when the movie completely decouples from that plot entirely and like goes into like the we got to get dad from prison and then we got to go get mom and then
Yeah, it's
and
just
then
really disingenuous to like the idea of a MacGuffin because I think of all the great movies that have used that device, and like it still remains important at in the third act of the movie. Like,
they used it to free all the widows, right? And like that was a pretty big Deus Ex Machina for like Black Widow to survive her confrontation with all of them.
right, I mean, sure, but I mean, like, it's still like the villain's still trying to get it at the end. You
Well,
know what I
like
mean?
if you think about like Rise of Skywalker, like the MacGuffins in that movie are like the dagger, which has the map, which leads to the Wayfinder, and the Wayfinder is the MacGuffin
Yeah.
that leads to like Exegol. So like MacGuffins don't always have to have like they don't always have to have like a monumental importance. They just have to be something that both the that like drives the plot in terms of like why are the villain and the hero like constantly coming into contact with each other because
Right, it's
it
true, but like I think that I
and
really think that it's the movies that use that MacGuffin device the best are the ones that make it still relevant,
sure
just
I'm
as
not saying
relevant
it
at the
was
end as it was at the beginning.
yeah no I'm not saying it was good. I'm just using it as a common term so that we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. You know, one okay, so one of the MacGuffins that everybody knows about is like the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark. But I think a really good use of it is in Last Crusade with the diary. Because not
Mhm.
only do they use the diary and everybody's trying to get it, but then he rips the pages out and sends half of them to Marcus Brody, and then he keeps the other half of the diary. So like they split up the MacGuffin, and they use it like more creatively than just like, oh, we got to get this thing, oh, we can't let them get this thing because this thing's like
Sure.
important.
Yeah, I don't think we're trying to make the argument that they're using it creatively in this movie.
No.
I was just calling it like what it is, like regardless of like how well it was utilized or not. I think that that was the because like otherwise they wouldn't have made Black Widow have it in the beginning for no reason. I
Yeah.
think that the fact that they did like qualifies it as a MacGuffin because like if she doesn't have it in the beginning, she doesn't even enter the movie
Yeah, that's
because
true.
the robot just goes some wherever it
She
is.
would have just been living in that mobile home.
Yeah, in that mobile home.
Yeah.
It's like the fucking return address on it was wrong or like
Yeah.
whatever, and she just spends that whole movie watching Moonraker.
Yeah, that's I know that movie was like pretty bad.
So yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty
that's all
bad.
I meant. Yeah.
I'll say okay, so like out of 10 stars, I would give this movie uh
It's like under 5.
3.5. Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
3.5. If that, honestly, because like they were even the scene that I wanted to see, like the whole Skyfortress thing. By the time we got there, I was just so exhausted of like not caring about what's happening, and just things are happening for like reasons, but the reasons aren't that compelling. So like, yeah, by the time we got to that scene at the end, it was just noise.
Yeah,
So
like on a personal scale, this is like I don't know if I can use like a good rating system. I would just say like like I never have to see this movie again.
yeah, I never want to watch
So
it again
and I
either.
never want to see
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah, I
So
hope that whoever listens to this will watch it.
so that like so I'd say that it has to like rate, it's got to rate pretty low for me, I guess. Then like I'd say that movies that
Yeah.
probably fall in like the like 1 to 3
Yeah.
range are probably movies that like I never want to see again. But I would say that like general audiences are probably gonna like it. I feel like this is gonna be a hit with like most people that watch it, the phone viewers.
Very middle of the road. It hits the beats. It hits like family,
Yeah, and
action.
I think a lot of the things that like we find wrong with it, like I said, like when you're in the like if someone manages to stay immersed, then they're
Yeah.
not gonna catch all the shit that like we don't like. But that's like a big thing with me is like when I get unimmersed like very quickly, like when I see stuff that like makes me realize that I'm watching a movie, I decouple really quickly, and then it takes a lot to kind of like get me back in. So like
Yeah.
when you show a little girl in 1995 with like blue hair and she's on a street that has an Asian kid and a black kid and another ethnic kid like playing on a tire swing and shit, I'm like, dude, this movie has been cast. Like they're letting their casting and shit like get in the way of like making something that's like immersive. And I know that it's not like a huge part, but like that's a little bit that starts the erosion for me. I'm like, this is kind of dumb. So
I didn't grow up. I grew up in a pretty diverse kind of neighborhood.
in Ohio,
So, no, I didn't grow up in Ohio.
no, I know you didn't grow up in Ohio, but like that's like
Well, I mean, there's like a lot of black people in Cincinnati, right? 'Cause there's like major cities. There's like Cincinnati and Cleveland.
sure, but they were in the rural area.
Yeah, it seemed like not rural, but suburban.
Yeah. So like I'm not saying like these are the biggest things, but like those are things that I start like the dominoes start falling over for me when I'm like, okay, this is just some shit that you know you're trying to like check off boxes in your fucking like opening scene or whatever. And so I'm just saying like those are things that like do kind of distract me. And
I
they
really
start to
try
pull
not
me.
to look for that kind of stuff because like
But
that's
it's
what
so
movies are now.
noticeable.
Yeah, but that's what
Yeah,
movies are. All movies are like that now. So it's like it's just gonna be a part of a movie, and I try to just focus on like the main characters and like what they're doing and why they're doing it. But also, I just like don't want to come off sounding like like one of those keyboard
and
warrior people that.
sure, I don't want to sound either like I need my movie to have like all white people and shit in it for me to like enjoy it, and that like I don't want this like little black girl to get a job as like a tire swinger in a fucking movie. I'm not trying to put all the black women under the age of 5 out of fucking work.
Yeah.
But it's just a thing that like I see it in a scene and I'm like, this is a fucking agenda behind it, and that you're not trying to make the movie like accurate to like the time period that you're putting in. And when it's a 5-second part in the movie, like can you just forgo your fucking like little agenda and shit? But anyways, then there's like her having blue hair as like a little kid, and that again is like a little too like messagey for me. I just don't buy it. It's like I'll like let it go. It's fine, but it's like one of those things. It's like you're not getting me in the movie like really quickly. Like I'm meeting some resistance here when the tires are hitting the road, and then it's like we said we had this like boring scene with the parents in the beginning, and it's like that wasn't really doing it for me. And then you're gonna like inexplicably like show the dad having like super strength. This is stuff that like. It like really like I'm like, okay, you're
that did warrant an explanation.
It did, yeah.
Like,
it's like
either you make him a super soldier, you got to tell us where that came from. Like, do the Russians have their own program? Was it like a part of a Hydra thing, which we found
that
out
was also never
like
explained
recently that it was like part of Shield, or like what's going on? Because like, and then he didn't use any of.
He didn't use it, so it's like
help the plot. So why even make him a super soldier?
Exactly.
At all? Why even have him in the movie?
Yeah, it's like like why even have that thing in front of the plane that he needs to flip over? Like just don't have that thing in front of the plane so he doesn't have to
Yeah.
do that. And then like you can have him like sitting on the wing of the plane like shooting people. It's like that's a little bit far fetched, but like I'll let that slide. Like whatever. I didn't even have a problem when that was happening. I mainly had a problem with the fact that he was just a super soldier out of nowhere because I was like, dude, Marvel is like up to this point has been really tight-lipped about the super soldier thing. It has like really defined rules about like how they were made and like what time periods they were conceivable to be in and like who they were and shit like that. So that kind of like came out of nowhere. And
honestly, like I would have still forgiven all of that if they just
yeah.
made it like an important part of the plot. Like it really
Yeah,
just
me too.
was not important.
Yeah, they didn't address it at all. It's like later when we saw him just being a super soldier. By that point, the movie had like committed to the idea so much they were like, "You better just fucking believe this shit because like we're gonna keep doing it through the movie." And it's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
and like what
I
like
can't
it could
harp
have
on
been like a deleted scene or something that explains that because it would have been interesting if like somehow the main villain of this also like was doing super soldiers or something. And they showed that or like had a variation of the super soldier serum that he was giving to the Black Widows. That's why they're like so fast and everything. I don't know. Those are
Yeah.
just ideas.
And so anyways, what I'm trying to say is like I don't think normal audience are like gonna pick up on like these little things and start to like really decouple me from like getting into the movie. So there's like that, and then they got to like the little island, and I didn't like the fact that the dad was not at all concerned about the mom's gunshot wound because it seemed like she got shot at nighttime and then they landed in the daytime and she was still bleeding out. And I'm thinking like you're probably dead at that point, right? If you've been bleeding from a gunshot wound and like we don't know exactly where she got shot. I didn't exactly see, but like I didn't like the fact that he got off the plane and he was more interested in talking to the director than making sure that she got the appropriate medical attention and like staying with her. These are all like little things that like are I'm like, does this movie like give a shit about like what I'm seeing? And then Scarlett Johansson as a kid, like taking a gun from the guy. And at that point we know, because now we've seen the entire movie, that she hadn't been trained at all. That's just some bullshit that they have happen. And it's like, dude, you can't have a fucking guy that's in camo that is a soldier that has been on duty for, we have to assume, for a long time. If he's with Dreykov, you don't just have like fresh off the boat fucking, green neck soldiers with you at that point. Like you've got like elite guard with you that are like,
trained
yeah,
soldiers,
you don't just, the kid just doesn't just pull their gun on them.
yeah,
So like those are little things that like I see, and that like pulls me out of the fucking movie entirely, that like other people aren't going to get caught up on. They're just going to see like, oh, this proves that Black Widow is like an autonomous and strong character. And that informs like what I've seen in other Marvel movies. And I'm just sitting here like, no, that's some bullshit. Like that doesn't need to be in the movie, first of all. And it being in the movie doesn't really add anything. So other than just like pulling me out of it. So yeah, once you get to, and then we had the like weird montage of them in the things getting found by that like Secret Service, and like that was all weird. I felt like that could have been shot in like a more informed way. Like it would have made more sense if the people that opened the shipping container were like guys in like lab coats rather than like guys in like full bulletproof vests and like masks on with guns. Like that doesn't really like make a lot of sense. Like if you're just trying to inform us that like they're transporting these children to then be like separated into like different programs so that they can start the indoctrination process, it's like do it with like a bit more of a deft hand than this like, you show these guys with like guns, because like it made it seem like a police raid, like they got detected and not like they were
that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was at first, and then it kind of like threw me off. So it's like, yeah, have them like opening the cases, the shipping containers like very like I want to say cautiously, but that's not the right word. Like very precisely, like they like know, they're like treating it like there is like precious cargo in these things, and
Yeah.
that you know, it's like people with like fucking clipboards and stuff, like, you know, oh, we got this one, and oh, this one shows certain aptitude for something, so like funnel her into this line, you know, show
Right.
like a little bit more like precision on their part, so it looks like more of like an evil plot in like an organization that it is gonna do something with purpose with these little girls. But it made them look like they were just being like trafficked, which was confusing.
Yeah.
Especially because we saw a scene where they were like presumably already assigned to like a fake family. So then it was weird to see them be trafficked in like shipping containers.
Right.
Like,
That's something that sticks out to me, because it's like, what
yeah,
was the point of that?
yeah,
Were they
exactly.
just to pose as kids so they look like a family? Maybe, I guess. But
Yeah, but at that
I
point,
don't know.
it seems like you're already in this organization system. So what's the point then of separating them from the fake family, putting them in a shipping container with all the other fucking riffraff girls that presumably you haven't done this with yet, because we don't fucking know, and
Right,
then
and yeah, that's
and then
another
dividing
thing.
them all. You know, you'd think it would have
Yeah.
been easier to be like, well, because we've assigned them to this family, the mom and the dad, who are also sleeper agents, can help us in the indoctrination and getting them in. You know, they're like our anchor point with them for
Right.
helping them, you know, bridge the relationship between us, because this is presumably the first time they saw Drecker or whatever his name is, and yeah, and that was just like weird. So yeah, it's like before we're even like in the opening credits, I'm like very like, ugh. I like don't really kind of give a shit. But like I think that like most people don't kind of catch all that stuff. And so by that point they're still in. And then we get the scene with like her running from the Shield guys, and they're like, oh, this informs us of like where this is on the Marvel timeline. And then they're like interested in like everything else that happens after that. And I think that if you're still in it by then, there's like enough, like you said, like action scenes that are interspersed that would like keep you from like looking at your phone or whatever, if that's like the metric, which I think is a good metric.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what movies are about right now. They're just
Yeah,
like, put it on the screen and then look at your phone.
Yeah, and I think that is, I think that if that's like the person that's watching this in general, that they're fine, and that there's enough things that are happening, like there were some cool things. I don't remember them exactly. Like at the end where the piece of the sky castle was falling and they were like sliding on it and the glass was like rippling and shit, even though it happened like really quick. It's like, that's cool.
Yeah,
Like,
that was pretty cool.
I won't discredit it for like the cool like little visual things that it does. There was also like something I think that they like when they flipped the car around and they like had the door fly off and it like hit the person on the motorcycle. It's like that's totally like impossible to like recreate. You know, it's like if you had done that like 100 times, it's like I don't think the door hits the person off the motorcycle, you know, even more than once. So it like is like a really dumb thing for the sister to do. It's like if you're a spy, like everything you need to do needs to be precision, not let's fucking drive the car backwards for a second so that I can like knock the door off on the side of this building so I hit. It's like, you don't know it's gonna fucking do that. Like that's not some spy shit. It's definitely some like comic book shit, and it's like cool, but like at the same time, I'm like, that's super impractical and like very coincidental that it happened the way that you planned in your head. But it is cool. So I think there's enough things that like a regular person just watching this would be like, oh yeah, I really like this because like it had scenes like that and like little things and like the scenes like ferry the characters in ways that like, you know, it's like I didn't like any of like the helicopter stuff. I thought it was like very contrived because it's like there's just like so much wrong with it. It's like this prison that is like housing these high profile criminals isn't going to just let a helicopter like fly over it that's like unidentified.
I'm sure it's like restricted airspace or
yeah
something.
so like I noticed things like that and I'm just like, this is bullshit, and like now I'm really disengaged from the movie again and I'm like uninterested in the scene. And it's
so
like
that just kept happening. Like every other scene, it's like, oh well, okay, and you're just disengaged. Yeah, I feel that way.
It did.
Too.
And then now that I'm thinking about it, when the guy was like, we need to go to St. Petersburg, and she's like, we don't have enough fuel, and he's like, yeah, you do. And it's like, okay, first of all, who are you to fucking say you can't even see the fuel gauge from where you're sitting? Second of all, she can. And third of all, is she just like now like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna fucking try, even though I know it won't work because he said so. Like, is that, and then that's what happened? Like, you're telling her she didn't disagree with him and be like, no, we need to refuel first or anything like that. It's like, So I don't know. It's like they just do they just make the characters like dumb in certain scenes so that they can like have jokes, and it's like I guess if like that's what you're gonna do, like that's what you're gonna do. But yeah, that's the kind of crap that like qualifies this as like I don't ever need to see this movie again. And
So if
it,
you're giving it a number value, if it were stars, if it was out of 10, and it is.
yeah, like I said,
What?
it's definitely below 5, and I think if it's a movie that like I never need to see again, it's probably in the 1 to 3 range. And I don't
Yeah.
think the difference between 1, 2, and 3 is like meaningful enough to like absolutely peg it.
Quantify it, yeah.
But I guess you could give it like a 2.5.
Okay. Yeah, I would give it a 3.5 because I've seen. I mean, you remember that John Travolta movie that I forced you to watch? Like that's probably like 2 or 1.
The Fanatic.
That's probably a 1. Yeah, The Fanatic. Yeah, that's definitely a 1 for me.
That movie was hard to watch. I'd probably
so
watch
bad.
this again if I had to choose between the two.
I don't know. I might do The Fanatic again. At least that one it made sense. It was just really dumb. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I would still watch this one again. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I think I'd
about
watch.
it. I'm just thinking about all the scenes that happened in that movie,
Yeah, I think
awful.
I could. I think all the scenes like would be more like I would know what's coming, so I could like not care about the flaws in them, and then at that point, like at face value, they're more exciting at least than like what happened in The Fanatic.
Yeah.
So on the scale of 1 to Fanatic, this is like very close to The Fanatic.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Really close to it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, okay. So like, is it worth my money? I wouldn't have paid for this, and if I did, I would have regretted it if I went to see it in the theater, which I almost thought about. I was like,
I asked my friend Carlos today if he wanted to go see it, and then he was busy, so I was like, oh, but yeah, I would have gone to use my pass, and I think that that's maybe the only way that I would have gone to see it. I don't know.
Like if you didn't have the movie
if
pass,
I didn't have the movie pass, I don't think I would have gone to see this one. I don't think I would have had that much interest because, like I said, Black Widow's never been like when I heard this movie was getting made, I was just like, it feels too little, too late, and it's also one of the characters that I have like very little interest in seeing like a continued or even self-contained story of.
Yeah, I would have been more interested if there was more S.H.I.E.L.D. involvement and like maybe Hawkeye makes an appearance.
More Red Room involvement because like I will say that like I thought that this was just gonna go the generic like femme fatale brainwashed route where it shows like one of those movies like Anna where it shows them, they start out in the school getting brought up, getting on the missions, and then they realize that like they want to be more like independent and autonomous, and then they like break free, and then for whatever reason they spend the rest of the movie like trying to overthrow the organization. Like I really thought it was going to be more of that beat for beat. Now it did borrow like some of those elements, but it wasn't as like on the same rails. But like that's really what I thought it was going to be because we basically got the Black Widow backstory in Age of Ultron, which is she was like in this, she was picked up as a kid. All she knew was kill, kill, kill. They took out her fucking tubes or whatever, so she couldn't have kids. And then she joined the Avengers because she wanted to stop just like mindlessly murdering people, and she wanted to like do good. So I was like, that's what the Black Widow movie is going to be. I've seen that movie before. I don't really need to see it again with like a different character. So I wasn't really that interested. Yeah. And, and I ended up seeing it anyways. And it was like not as, it was like so different and not in like a lot of good ways.
Yeah.
We also missed a lot of like quintessential like Black Widow things. And maybe that's one of the reasons that it didn't really feel like Marvel-y. Like she didn't really do a lot of like there wasn't even one scene that was anything even close to like the scene in Iron Man 2 where she like breaks into that compound and is like flipping over a bunch of guys and like
that was way cool. Yeah,
like spinning around on their necks like with her thighs and stuff like that, and just like dragging guys to the ground and like shooting things out of like her little wrist thing. Like we got like no quintessential Black Widow scenes. in this whole movie. So that was also very weird. Like, maybe a little bit when she fought the robot in the beginning. But that came to like such a quick conclusion. I felt like that scene was like very fast. And and we didn't really get it at the end, because at the end she was like too busy like mouthing off. And then even like in the helicopter scene, she didn't do anything because she was like on a wire the whole time, so she wasn't like fighting.
Yeah, I'm thinking like I didn't even see her do a lot of
Yeah, and then
combat,
like she basically just like disarmed her sister. They did fight a little bit, but it felt more like people smashing each other into cabinets rather than like, I don't know. I don't really remember. Maybe there was some like martial arts and stuff like that, but it also didn't feel like none of the people that Black Widow fought like stayed on the ground like they had been defeated, you know, because like she couldn't defeat the robot in like the very first scene of the movie, so she had to escape, and then she can't defeat her sister, obviously. So both the scenes that we got, she wasn't really like triumphant in like a sense that she like beat the person that she was fighting. It was kind of just like the scene started, and then like the fighting had to stop because it's like, okay, that's enough, and now we need to do some like exposition.
Yeah.
So like a little bit at the end, I guess, because she like started fighting like all the Black Widows with the batons, but then again, like I didn't really feel like that was a great scene either, because I was like I can suspend my disbelief if she like goes into like a little hallway and all the enemies are in front of her and maybe there's like 5 guys, but when 20 Black Widow agents like walk into a room to fight her, I'm like, there's no way that she's gonna like survive this, you know? Like those kind of odds are like too much for me to even be like interested in what's going to happen. I'm like, which one's going to like rip off her right arm and which one's going to rip off her left arm and which one's going to rip off her left leg and right leg, you know? It's like, because there's like no way she's going to like fight this. And like, you know, they made her like take out the little like batons that were like in her back and stuff like that and do some shit with them. But it's like, I was like not interested. So yeah, the movie was kind of missing all that Black Widow-y stuff that like we normally kind of get. And another thing was she wasn't a spy at all in this movie. She didn't do any like what movie is it where it is it the first Avengers movie where it like opens up and she's like in a warehouse and she's like tied to a chair?
Yeah,
and
that
she's
was
like
Avengers.
beating up
That was
some
the
Russian
first
guys.
Avengers movie.
Yeah, and she's like being kind of sexy and she's like she's like in like kind of like a dress or something kind of like skimpier. Like we didn't get any of that in this movie. And those are very like, you know, maybe they don't really jive well with like what happens when you have to make like a female-led movie nowadays. Maybe like females are like not allowed to be like sexual or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's
no,
like
they
those are
can't
kind
be.
of like part of Black Widow. She's like a femme fatale. So it felt weird that none of that was in the movie at all and that she didn't leverage any of that to her advantage.
Yeah, I mean, because even if it was like a male-led spy movie, you would see some like kind of
Like James Bond
seduction.
always fucks a woman in his movies.
Yeah, he would be like seducing someone, and it's usually like the girl that's like connected to the bad guy in some way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's not doesn't have to be a gendered issue.
Yeah, it is just kind of like a spy trope. Is like you
Yeah.
use all the tools at your disposal to like get the
Right.
information that you need.
Right.
And it like isn't a coincidence that Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow are like insanely attractive and that they can do that with ease. So yeah, even like you know, in GoldenEye, like Xenia uses her looks to like seduce that captain guy and get the keys to the helicopter or whatever. So like even female spies do it. So you know, yeah. Yeah, again, it's like hard to see the movie, other than like the jokes that they made sure to get in there, which were like pretty bad, by the way. There was like the one where she like ate the really old like protein bar. I was like, ugh. and they kept calling that like guy sensitive and stuff like that. And I'm like, are these the jokes? Like, are there no like, do the jokes have to be like every time the screen can the script can like actually slow down and like tell a joke? Can you not do like humor and action at the same time? Because that was like something else that the movie was like not very fun.
Yeah.
It was very dry. It was very like, oh, this is a serious scene now, and this is a scene where they're talking, but like we can allow there to be a joke. Like,
Yeah, I
especially
would give it this, that
everything.
I feel like it wasn't preachy, like
Sure.
in the way that Captain Marvel was preachy.
Yeah, it was reserved in that regard,
Yeah.
but it was also like, it was just like reserved almost everywhere else.
Yeah, like we said before, it's just like really bland. There's nothing
Yeah,
that like sets it apart from any other movie, and nothing that like marks it as a Marvel movie.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's very like a widget that is just on like a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
It's just like, here's another widget on the assembly line. And it's like, yep. It's like this widget is like all the other widgets.
Right. Here's another one. Yeah.
Um,
Well, I
there's
think
like,
I said that pretty much everything I want to say about this movie because throughout the film and then in this little epilogue that we're doing after, I think I've said everything.
yeah, I don't think like,
Oh yeah, I was trying to do the whole scale thing. Yeah, so would I pay for it? Would I spend my money on it? Was it worth my money? No, it was not worth my money. I would say if you have a friend that has Disney Plus and got this, and then you went over to their house to watch it, and there was nothing to do other than that, then I say yeah. I mean, do
that's
watch
fine.
it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, was it worth my time? Like, do I feel like I missed anything in the Marvel universe by if I had not seen this movie? And I don't think so. I
Yeah.
don't think
I would agree with that.
I don't think I know Black Widow more as a result of watching this movie. Uh, and I feel like I could have spent 2 hours like watching something else. Like I would rather have watched like the last two episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier than watch this movie. And I
Yeah.
watched those already. I would just watch those again instead.
Yeah. I again, yeah, it kind of begs the question of like why, like, you raised a good point that like we didn't learn anything new about Black Widow, and that kind of like begs the question again, like why wasn't this a prequel?
Yeah, why was
Why
it made
wasn't
at
it
all?
set why wasn't it set in a time that like informs us more of like why Black Widow is the character that she is, rather than giving us a movie where like we already know she's pretty much a static character in this movie.
Yeah.
And like also she didn't like level up for Infinity War. It's not like they took her and like put her through some kind of like rigorous
Thing, yeah, that
trial.
she comes out
Yeah,
smarter or stronger
that
at
it's
the end
like,
of it.
yeah, it's like, oh man, well now she's going to be like a little bit better off like when Infinity War rolls around.
Even in the course of the movie,
Cuz
like
like
she didn't really learn anything to defeat the guy
yeah,
if she didn't
yeah.
already know.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like in Infinity War, you know, she does like fight those two guys that are like Thanos's henchmen. There's like one that's like the girl and with the
Mhm.
sword, and then there's like the skinny guy with the spear, and they like try and get the Mind Stone from Vision in the subway, and she like gets one of their weapons and like fights them with it and is like going toe to toe with them. And you know, when you watch Infinity War, you are like, this is a little ridiculous because like they're aliens and she's like literally a human. Not augmented or anything of the sort. So it would have been cool for this movie to at least do something that like adds something to her character so that in retrospect we could go back and look at that movie and be like, oh, well, like, you know, because of the Black Widow movie, that makes this seem like more believable or something like that.
Yeah, I don't really feel satisfied by that movie.
Yeah.
Um, and I like Black Widow as a character. I think she does like a lot of cool stuff, and I like how she like originated in the Iron Man part of the universe. She fits really well in there, but then she also appeared in Captain America,
Mhm.
the second and third movies, and she fits really well in that part of the universe as well. So there's like a lot of
Yeah.
ways that they could have gone with
with that character in that time, but they really didn't do anything interesting with it. So it was just like a waste of money and a waste of time. And it
Yeah, and
makes
this is one
what?
of the reasons that I don't really get excited whenever they announce these like extra movies about shit that like we've already gotten. Because I'm
Yeah.
just like, God, you could be doing anything else. It's
Yeah.
like I feel the same way about like Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's like, yeah, it's fine, but like I didn't need it, and I would have rather you guys use the resources to like bring a different Marvel character or something like that to the screen, because it's like I've seen Falcon fly around, and I've seen
Mhm.
Captain America throw a shield, and I've seen Bucky shoot a weapon out of his like with his silver arm, and then like use that silver arm to like hang on to things that like a normal human can't hang on to. And it's like same with this. It's like we've seen Black Widow do all these things, and like she works a lot better as an auxiliary character in like other people's story. Like,
Yeah.
because Iron Man can't be everything. He can't be a spy. So she works well in his story where she needs to fill the gaps of like espionage. And same with Captain America. Captain America is like a blunt object, and like he's really only good for doing blunt object things. But when you need someone that like is good for sneaking into places and like using computers and stuff like that that he doesn't know how to do or is like not familiar with.
Yeah, because he's from the
Yeah,
1940s.
yeah, she works like really well, but then like yeah, you put her in her own movie and it's like this is kind of boring, and it's like the things that you could be doing with like Marvel and stuff like that. And it's kind of like same with like Loki. It's like we're getting this Loki show, but like they're not doing anything cool with Loki, and it's like, so what's the point? Like why didn't you just
Right.
like get another character out of your like infinite roster? It's like at this point there's also like a couple like Marvel things that like have not really been done like good justice yet that you could like be reviving. Like the Fantastic Four is still like out in limbo in terms of getting like a really good representation. It's like if you're going to make a TV show, like that might actually be one that like would have worked well rather than like making something like Loki or Falcon and Winter Soldier, for example. And or they still have really not done like any of the X-Men right. At least like not all in one movie. Like they get like certain characters well, like they get Wolverine. They got Wolverine really right with like Hugh Jackman's reprisal of him. But like all the other X-Men like really like don't really get good representation on film, and it's like they're really important characters to the MCU and characters that are like really cool and that I really like. So it's like, make those movies or make those TV shows if you're gonna like if you're getting into the realm where you're just gonna like make TV shows and movies of like fucking secondary characters and stuff like that. It's like, man, dig deep into your roster rather than just like using these ones that have had like hours of screen time already.
Yeah. Or if they made a show that centered around a villain, but like not like a lovable villain like Loki, like someone who's like a really bad dude, and then you see him defeat like these secondary characters or the Shield agents or something like that. I don't
That would be
know. I
kind of
mean,
cool.
yeah, I would like to watch something like that.
And then it sets up a movie for like one of the main characters to finally
Right,
beat them.
exactly.
That
Yeah.
would be cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool, but they're never gonna do that. We don't need
Yeah.
new, we need more. We don't like risks, we like things that already worked in the past, we're just gonna do more of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, because like there's so many good Spider-Man villains I feel like you could do that with.
Yeah, yeah, they could do
Like setting
Marvel
up like a
doesn't
Doc
make, like,
Ock or
Spider-Man
yeah, I know
stuff,
it's all
though.
weird.
Yeah,
It's all weird. There are like agreements with like Sony and whatnot that
right.
keeps all that shit kind of divorced but separated at the same time. Yeah, they have kind of like phased out all the big characters though.
Yeah, the
Like
interesting characters, yeah.
yeah, they can't do Iron Man anymore obviously because he's dead. They can't do Cap
Yeah.
anymore because they've like shifted it over to Falcon.
Mhm.
And they can't do Thor because he's on such a different power level that they do more like contained stories for him.
Yeah.
But I guess you could do something like, I mean, like they did like Wanda already, but like they kind of like botched that from what I've heard. But like that would have been cool to like do something with like Scarlet Witch, and then it ends up being like a character that like Scarlet Witch like on her own like can't beat, and then it like influences maybe like what goes on in like Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then you would have to not do a Loki and then instead do something else, but then like also maybe influences the that would have been cool if they had like a TV show that had like continuity to it between like the
Yeah.
other TV shows.
I mean, I think
And
the
you do,
Netflix
like,
one kind of did that. Like they were all independent, but they did a crossover.
Yeah, they
And
brought
were,
them all
like-
together for the Guardians or the Defenders or something like that.
Yeah,
Which I heard was really bad, but
it wasn't terrible, but like I really didn't care about what's his
anyone
name?
other than Daredevil?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Daredevil was the best, and Punisher wasn't Punisher in it.
Yeah, Punisher was in them.
Yeah, so they were cool. I don't know, Jessica Jones is okay. The actor that plays her is like really good, but
Kristen
just
Bell
thought-
or
yeah,
Is that her
some
name?
Kristen,
She's
Kristen
from-
something, whatever.
yeah,
but
she's
yeah.
from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and she's from Breaking Bad. It would have been, it was all right. But anyway, yeah, I've said everything that I want to say about this. I've got a reservation at 8:30.
Okay.
So yeah, let's wrap it up. Don't watch the movie unless you already did and you're listening to this.
Pretty much, yeah.
We'll just go back and make a prequel where you didn't watch it because you listened to this, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's not really great. I don't know what the next movie we're gonna watch is. Maybe it'll be like an older one. Like really want to do like Hellraiser or Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, we have to do Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah.
That's on the
Mortal
list for
Kombat
sure.
Annihilation. It looks good.
Oh yeah, it's super good.
I haven't
It's
watched
probably
it yet.
going to be better than this.
like,
I feel like we'll get more entertainment value out of it than this. That's my
well,
prediction.
that would be better then.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that'll be it for this episode. How long is this? Does it tell you that, or it won't tell you till you download it, right?
Yeah, it probably won't tell us to download it. It's probably around like 3 hours.
Yeah, it's probably like 3 hours. Damn. Well, good job. This is gonna be an inaccessible podcast, dude. Like Rogan didn't start doing 3 hours until he had like at least 10 viewers.
I guess so. He did. He actually did like 3 hour long advertisements for Fleshlight. That's how he got off the ground.
Yeah, that's how he got started. He was like, exclusively talking about it. He would have like scientists come on and talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like it's more of like a movie commentary, I guess, than like a traditional podcast. But people love long form shit that they can just put on and like listen to.
And zone out. Yeah.
And
Do homework
I
or
was
whatever.
thinking too, something easy that we can do is in the comment or the show notes or whatever the fuck on YouTube, the info, we can put like a time sync with exactly when the movie starts.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so maybe we don't have to do like countdowns and stuff in the future. But yeah, anyways,
All right. Well, I'll talk to
thought
you
it
later.
sucks.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. One of the, I would say, top 3.
Cancel
worst
your Disney
Marvel
Plus.
movies. Yeah, cancel Disney Plus so that
Yeah.
they know, like, we can't make this garbage anymore.
Yeah, just watch this shit on Rip sites.
Yeah.
Rip site in the description.
Okay, bye.
All right, see ya.